fun to watch. And it's gone! Oh, wow! How about that? What a comeback! Ball game! Deep into the night. What a catch!
These are the days you dream about on a snowy day in January. Brats on the grill, baseball tailgating at its finest. Nothing but sunshine today. Open that roof at Miller Park. The border battle continues. It's a perfect time to see this ballpark and this great city. MLB Live on Facebook Watch. Back in Wisconsin today for a matchup between the Minnesota Twins and the Milwaukee Brewers. It's interleague play from Miller Park, and welcome inside the ballpark. Scott Braun with you and a team of many more joining me soon. Hello to the Facebook audience globally. We're excited to see these two teams. The Minnesota Twins entering the season with high expectations. It's been a down year so far for them. The Brewers also with high expectations, living up to it at the moment. They have the second best record in the National League, and we want to communicate with you throughout the day. We do it every single week here on MLB Live on Facebook Watch. So questions, comments, all broadcast long. It's like you're in the broadcast booth with us. We will answer those questions. And if you want to watch this game just with your respective Twins or Brewers fan bases, you can do that in the fan groups. And if you don't want to see the comments and the reactions, it's very simple. Take your finger and swipe right for quiet mode on your mobile device. And we'll also be joined by many guests throughout the day. And we have two analysts in the booth that have played for these teams. Let's start with Bill Schroeder, drafted by the Brewers in 1979, spent 6 of his 8 seasons with Milwaukee, a big part of that club that had the magical 1987 run. They won their first 13 games. He had 332 that year with 14 homers. And for the Twins, LaTroy Hawkins spent 21 seasons in the big leagues from 1995 to 2003. He was a Twin. He's also part of the Twins TV broadcast booth throughout the season. Same with Bill. And now retired as a player at 42 years old and working in the front office with the Minnesota Twins. And how's that gig going so far, LaTroy?
The gig's going outstanding so far. I get a chance to get back to this game, what it gave to me. I get to work with our minor league pitchers from Gulf Coast League all the way to the big league. So it's been a lot of fun being close to the game again and not having to put on a uniform.
Yeah, and you work with some young talent that is very impressive. Two names to point out in the lineup for Minnesota, Eduardo Escobar and Eddie Rosario, both playing like all-stars this season.
Yes, Eduardo and Eddie, they both had 2 outstanding seasons. They built on what they started last year in 2017. Escobar, he's hitting everything hard. Fastballs, breaking balls. If you're going to hang it, he's going to put a very good swing on it. And he has 34 doubles. He's leading all of baseball with 34 doubles for the season. Very impressive for a little guy. And you have Eddie Rosario. He's another guy, ditto for him. He's hitting everything. If you're going to pitch him up, he's going to put a very good swing on it. Doesn't matter if it's a breaking ball, a changeup, a fastball. He's one of those guys, every day he goes out and he gets to hit a ball on the screws, and hopefully he can be a 2018 Major League All-Star.
And you're right, neither of these players, LaTroy, are big muscle men, but you can see the numbers they're putting up. 12 homers for Escobar, 18 already this season for Rosario. He's slugging .564 on the season. He has scored 57 times, by far the dynamic duo that is shining the brightest in the Twins lineup. And for the Milwaukee Brewers, they know how to score, they know how to pitch. Second best record in the National League. They lead the Central at the moment. They were a surprise team last year, Bill. This year, not necessarily a surprise team, but still many surprise performers.
Yeah, Craig Counsell said they've earned their expectations and they've come through pretty well. And when you talk about Brewers baseball, it's ordinarily offense, but it's been the pitching this year. The starting pitching over the last couple of months has been outstanding. One of the most consistent guys, Junior Guerra, who wasn't even on the team at the beginning of the season. He's got a good fastball. He'll shape it differently. And he's got that wipeout split-fingered fastball, which is a very good pitch for him. And offensively, he's the guy. Jesus Aguilar has had a tremendous season, leads the team in home runs, RBIs. He's a very good 2-strike hitter. And he didn't have a home run or an RBI until April 19th. So that's how good he has been as of late. And when the Brewers get leads this year, 7th inning and beyond, they're 41-1 in large part because the two guys are doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Jeremy Jeffress, outstanding work out of the bullpen. He's a guy that can give you multiple innings. He's got the power fastball, curveball, and a split change, and the guy that everybody in baseball is talking about, and a guy that should make the All-Star team. He's averaging almost 18 strikeouts per 9 innings, Josh Hader. He's not a guy that's going to blow you away with the velocity, but it's the release point. He hides the baseball extremely well. He puts the baseball where he wants it. and he's been outstanding so far for the Brewers. Corey Knebel, the all-star closer, he was out. Still, they continue to win games.
And some unique characters, Jesus Aguilar and Josh Hader with the hair. And then on the Twins side, one of their characters in the clubhouse is actually standing by at the moment with our social media reporter, Steven Nelson. Take it away.
Hey, thanks, Scotty. I'm actually here with one of your friends from spring training, right? Brian Dozier. How we doing?
Doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm ready to play a game. One of my favorites. You in?
I'm in. Let's do it, baby.
The game is cash or trash. And how it works, Brian, I present you a take, and if you like it, if it's a good take, a cash take, it's money. You hold on to it. If you think that's garbage, Steven, I hate that take, bad take, you crumple it up and do with it as you please, all right?
Gotcha.
Okay, so the first take. Family Matters is a better show than Saved by the Bell. Cash or trash?
Family Matters is by far less of a good show than Saved by the Bell. I actually idolized Zach Morris. I had a desk in my room, and I got a red chair like he used to. You remember he used to flip it around backwards, sit on it, cool with
The big phone?
I did not have the phone, but I had the red chair. Family Matters, that's trash.
All right. Kelly Kapowski, give Brian Dozier a call. Next take here on cash or trash. Why don't you pick that one up for me? The top one. Well, bang. Read it to the people. Show it to the people.
Paul Molitor has more Wisconsin clout than Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, you've been with your manager here, who's a Brewers legend, walking around town. Has he had to pay for a meal yet?
I'm going to tell you this. Aaron Rodgers does not have a number retired at his stadium. Paul Molitor does have more clout in Wisconsin. That's cash.
That's a cash take. All right, we're moving on. Next, NBA free agency, cash or trash, based on what you've seen?
NBA right now,
A lot of cash, literally.
a lot of cash literally, but it's trash.
Oh.
I'm not a fan of the super teams and having 3 good teams and that's it. It's a lot of trash.
Free agency, are you coming up for you? You excited? You nervous? You're not really thinking about it, trying to win ball games? I know, but what's the emotions heading into it?
The emotions are, it's exciting, but at the same time, we got work to do. A lot of work to do right now. So that's like in the distance. That's like
The distance?
can't even think about it right now.
One more for you. This top one. Oh, look at this one. I have a feeling I know what Brian's going to do with that. Show the people, tell the people.
The Twins will make the postseason in 2018. I'm going to tell you guys this. Baseball seasons are not 3 months long. I know we're struggling a little bit right now. We play 6 months for a reason. Cash it in.
Brian Dozier keeping the cash here on Cash or Trash. BD, appreciate the time, friend. Best of luck.
Thanks for having me.
Scotty, back up to you.
Thank you, Steven. He is one of the best interviews in the game. And hey, he was talking about Paul Molitor, his manager, with his 4th season running the team and played 3 seasons for the Minnesota Twins. Also the reigning manager of the year in the American League. But this man is Brewers royalty. He is Mr. Wisconsin.
Like Prince Hamlet, 21-year-old Paul Molitor wasted no time in showing the Brewers what he could do: hit, field, and run.
Paul Molitor continued to sparkle at second base, and his offensive contributions were even greater than in his brilliant rookie season. One improvement, 33 stolen bases.
Last year, I too went on a little weight program and lifted for a few months, and I feel a little bit stronger. And like you say, a little bit of a bonus is hitting a few more home runs, and hopefully it'll increase my endurance, and I'll be able to have a more consistent season.
Consistent indeed. Paul the Igniter assembled 15 and 16-game hitting streaks and finished the year with a .322 average, a Brewer record. All from a 22-year-old kid who, with Robin Yount, turned double plays like a veteran. Things were looking good.
Who knew, LaTroy? All it took was hitting the weight room for Paul Molitor, and his squad has some popping.
He sure did. Good job. Minnesota Twins lineup: Joe Mauer at first base, Jorge Polanco shortstop, Eddie Rosario left field, Eduardo Escobar playing third base, Max Kepler out in right field, Williams Astudillo at second base today, Jake Cave in center field, Bobby Wilson behind the plate, and towing the rubber is Jake Odorizzi.
And on the mounds this afternoon, Junior Guerra, he is sporting a .305 ERA. Now, 2 years ago, he was a star for the Brewers out of their rotation, Bill. Last year, injured in the first game that he played, and it looks like he is back on track again.
Yeah, 2016, a 9-3 record, a .281 earned run average in 20 starts. He didn't start with the team that year either. Opening day starter the following year, got hurt on opening day and really never was able to find it. It was a forgettable year for him, but he's back at it. The velocity's up. You know, the split-fingered fastball is a good pitch for him. Not as good as it was back in 2016. He picked up a win his last time out against the Reds. 6 innings, 4 runs for Junior Guerra.
And if you go back to the start of 2016, his batting average against is 11th best in Major League Baseball. Limiting contact. The last couple starts, he's gone over 100 pitches as well, so Craig Counsell letting him go deep. And the defense behind him has been excellent this year.
Yes, it has. It started out very poor. First 19 games of the year, the Brewers committed 21 errors. Last 65 games, 25 errors, so that's a big improvement. They've been much better. They're 6th best in the NL. Brad Miller, Jonathan Villar up the middle. They recently sent down Orlando Arcia down to the minor leagues. Their young phenom at short to try and get his bat going. But Miller gets a start here at shortstop. Eric Kratz, backup catcher for the Brewers, hanging the signs today for Junior.
Guerra, 33 years old, and facing Joe Mauer, the leadoff batter today, 3-time batting champion. MLB Live on Facebook Watch. Scott Braun, LaTroy Hawkins, Bill Schroeder, Steven Nelson, and we're underway. We spoke to Craig Counsell this morning about Junior Guerra, and he said the 2 keys: fastball command and feel for that split finger pitch.
He's got it. You'll know it early if he's got the splitter. Now the velocity much better this year. He could top out at about 95. I mean, last year it was about 91. He just didn't have a good feel for his mechanics. This year much different.
The 1-1 is fouled back, and last year the ERA above 5. Opening day starter, and actually injured on opening day as a batter.
Yeah, he dropped down a bunt. As soon as he got out of the batter's box, he hurt his leg and was out for a considerable amount of time and just not able to get back into the groove. It was a rough year for him.
And he spots the 1-2, a strikeout for Junior Guerra to start his day.
It took a little off that one that time, and 88 miles an hour, not the splitter. But just take a little bit off. They do call it a splitter, I guess, but didn't have the movement of the normal split for Junior. And the fastball for him is interesting because he can shape it a lot of different ways. And LaTroy, I guess you can comment on that. He'll cut it. He's got some run on it, and he's got the 4 seam. So that's basically 3 different pitches for him.
You're correct. In 3 different pitches and 3 different velocities. I mean, that's very impressive when you can manipulate the baseball like that. And he's done a great job doing that this year. He did a great job in 2016. But that split finger right there, I thought it was pretty good.
And that is smoked to right field. Jorge Polanco with extra bases. And he will pull up to second base with a 1-out double. Welcome back, Jorge Polanco. His first hit since his return. Yesterday goes 0 for 4. Back from an 80-game PED suspension.
You can see where that fastball ends up. It's down in the zone. Derek Johnson, the Brewers hitting coach, has got these guys working up in the strike zone with the fastball. The only real time they get hurt is when they're down in the zone. A big departure from the old days.
The way we were taught to pitch.
Right, everything down, but now everything's up in the zone.
I think that has a lot to do with the whole launch angle, and everybody's trying to lift and separate. And you can't get to that high fastball if you're dropping the barrel and trying to create some loft on the baseball.
So now it's Eddie Rosario, who's been the best hitter in this lineup this season. Him and the on-deck hitter, Eduardo Escobar, the 1-2 punch. On base plus slugging percentage for Rosario this season against right-handed pitchers is close to 1,000.
Yeah, back-to-back in the lineup. I mean, really tough outs. Rosario, Escobar. And they put the bat on the baseball. Tough outs, each and both of them. Actually, top 4 in the batting order. It's not too shabby.
They started to turn it on the last 4 or 5 games on this road trip, and it's really started to show, especially in that Cubs series. I mean, they didn't swing at any bad pitches down in the dirt once they got 2 strikes, didn't panic. Kind of took a page out of the Chicago Cubs book of what they did to the Minnesota Twin pitchers.
There still is something to be said for making contact, right, with 2 strikes. Everybody looking for the long ball these days.
Rosario
Long ball gets you paid.
And driving in runs, Rosario has done that well. .315 hitter with runners in scoring position. Here's the 2-1.
See that split-fingered fastball for Junior Guerra, effective when he's ahead in the count, not so much behind in the count. He threw it on a 2-1 pitch right there, and it's got to be over the confines of the plate. If it's away, if it's in, guys aren't really going to swing at it. He's got to work ahead and throw it over the plate, but down in the zone.
This is the middle of a 3-game series. One more tomorrow, July 4th. Both sides sporting the red, white, and blue. And that's ball 4 to Eddie Rosario. So runners on first and second for Minnesota. And Eduardo Escobar will step up. And already the questions coming in about the lineup for Milwaukee, Bill. And Brandon said no Kane or Yelich hurts, big time. Well, we received some updates. We won't see Lorenzo Kane tomorrow. He's not ready yet. And Christian Yelich hopefully Thursday, according to Craig Counsell.
Yeah, day to day. And I mean, that's a big loss in every aspect. I mean, not just what they do on the field in the batter's box defensively, but just that presence in the clubhouse. And the rest of the guys know that they're in the lineup every day. They've had such a big impact in so many ways on this ball club. Lorenzo Kane, a consummate professional. He does everything right.
Remember my first spring training here with the Brewers in 2010. I come into spring training and my locker is right next to Lo Kane. And he kept calling us twins.
He was brought along by one of the best too, Mike Cameron. Kind of Mike Cameron took Lorenzo under his wing, and he's doing the same here with some of these young guys with the Brewers.
I see it. And he's a handsome fella. Looks like you, LaTroy.
Well, thank you.
Everyone agree? Comment below.
I'm in.
Does Lo Kane look like LaTroy? Also, the comment section already being dominated by Nate Orff fans who saw him yesterday in his debut, asking why not Nate today at second base. They're still mixing in Jonathan Villar, who has struggled at the plate recently.
And they're just trying to find somebody up the middle that's going to be productive, as Junior Guerra is having a difficult time throwing strikes after striking out Mauer. And the double to Polanco, he's had a difficult time finding the edges. Craig Counsell looking for some production from second and short.
He does find the corner of the strike zone. It's 3-1 to Escobar. Yeah, from Milwaukee, Orlando Arcia back down in the minor leagues for a reset to try and get his swing going again. Excellent defensively, but he has struggled at the plate. No problem in that department for Escobar this year. And he takes the 3-1 wide. The bases are loaded. Junior Guerra struggling to find the zone.
And the split-fingered fastball is the culprit. I mentioned that you're going to know early about the splitter for Junior Guerra. There are times when he struggles early and is able to find it, but normally, you know, he's got a good one when it's going to be a good pitch for him throughout the day, right in the first inning.
So now it's Max Kepler. He struck out Mauer looking to start, and then Junior Guerra giving up a double to Polanco. Back-to-back walks for Rosario and Escobar. And Kepler puts the first pitch in the air. And it's the shortstop Brad Miller in shallow left, and that's the second out. And that's something that Max Kepler has been battling. I read a great article, LaTroy, the other day about his aggressiveness in April and a huge month for him. And then he said he took too many pitches the next couple of months and struggled a bit.
Well, I mean, a lot of times you don't want to go up there and just hack at the first thing you see. You want to get a feel for the pitcher. You want to give him a chance to make a mistake. But, you know, like Joe Mauer, he swung at the first pitch the other day for the first time in so many at-bats. But then you have other guys like to get deep in counts, like to wait the pitch out and hit their pitch and not hit the pitcher's pitch.
This man has been a hitting machine since he came up on Saturday. Williams Astudillo, 5 for 11 so far in his major league career.
Astudillo's never seen a pitch he didn't like. He's walked 4 times all season at Rochester and hadn't walked not once here in the big league so far in his first 4 or 5 games.
Makes pretty good contact. He barrels up that baseball.
And we saw he has Polanco at third, Rosario at second, and Escobar standing at first.
The Twins have done a great job over the last 4 or 5 games of hitting with runners in scoring position with 2 outs. Before the Cubs series, they hadn't done a very good job of doing that at all, and started to click over on the north side of Chicago and continued as of yesterday as well.
Maryland just said, I'm watching the Twins better get about 10 runs. It took them a while to get to the double-digit mark, but a big weekend at Wrigley Field. They were swept, but the offense showed up.
Just one of those series, man. Like, batting averages went up and ERAs went up.
Wind must have been blowing out, right? Wrigley Field.
It was, and it was extremely hot. But you know what? Both teams had to play under the same conditions. And
Right.
I think there was maybe one. I think there were 2 home runs that probably wouldn't have got out without the wind blowing. It was the grand slam by Russell and Dozier's home run to left center field. But all the other 4 or 5 home runs, they would have been home runs in any ballpark. They were crushed.
Yeah.
Jake Cave hit one straightaway to center field that still hadn't landed.
Astudillo, we'll see if it gets to the seats. It does. Just barely. So 1 and 2 again.
Yeah, those nets that they've extended beyond the dugouts have saved some outs, some foul balls. I mean, I think Pratt's, if that net wasn't there, might have been able to reach in there and grab it. Those nets are a good idea, though. Foul balls come whistling over those dugouts. Fans don't have a chance.
It was a great idea.
Yeah.
Only bad thing was it was reactive and not proactive.
Right, right.
Especially when fans are sitting in their seats watching MLB Live on Facebook Watch. They're watching and listening to us and looking at the game. It's distracting. So another 1-2. And that's golf to left center field. A long run for Keon Broxton, but he tracks it down. And the Twins leave the bases loaded. Junior Guerra with some control problems, but he escapes unscathed. And we'll head to the Brewers half of the first inning. And it's an inning that will feature their most feared hitter at the moment, Jesus Aguilar, batting third. And even if there's 2 strikes against him, he is almost just as dangerous.
Yeah, he's a good hitter that has a lot of power. He's not just a home run hitter, and one of the best 2-strike hitters, you know, in the big leagues. You can see the slugging percentage for Aguilar, just crazy good. I mean, you talk about mid-thigh, it's you know, away, in, doesn't really matter. And there's the averages amongst other major leaguers. Not too many guys that are very good with 2 strikes, because in this day and age, guys just don't want to be striking out, although they do quite a bit. But you know, Aguilar is one of those guys that will shorten up his swing, but still has a lot of power when he's able to keep those hands back. And you can see the first base production and the major league ranks. You're talking about Eric Thames, he plays over there. He's got big power. Ryan Braun has had some time over at first base, but Aguilar is the guy at first base for the Brewers. And he started playing every day about the end of April when Eric Thames hurt his thumb, and that's about the time when he started to go off.
And Bill, despite no Yelich and no Kane in the lineup, this group can still produce.
Yeah, and you know, you talked about Aguilar. He's 3rd in the league in home runs. He's 8th in RBIs and didn't have a single home run or RBI until April 19th. You got Miller, Thames, Aguilar at the top of the order. Shaw, Braun, and Jonathan Villar 4 through 6. You got Kratz hanging the signs for Junior today. Keon Broxton just made another terrific catch out in the gap in left center, and Junior Guerra behind home plate. Junior not a bad hitter. He swings a little bit.
So Miller with the walk-off walk yesterday. A 1-run win in extra innings, 6-5 for Milwaukee to improve to 49 and 35. And now they face a player that was born in this organization. A former Milwaukee Brewer. He was in the system and then acquired by the Minnesota Twins in February, and this is a few teams later. But Jake Odorizzi is on the mound, coming off a very strong performance against the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, Jake Odorizzi was good at the beginning of the season. Last starts in his middle part of the season, he struggled. His last start, he started to do what he had done before to be successful. His pitch usage for him is arm side fastballs at the top of the zone. Those arm side fastball makes his split finger a lot better. When he's going bad, he's cutting the ball off, trying to throw everything inside, pound the left-hand hitters in, and that's where he's been getting in trouble at.
6 shutout innings, 8 strikeouts against the Chicago White Sox, and he was working that fastball up in the zone, and the White Sox hitters were tempted, and they gave in. Last 7 starts, though, LaTroy, a 7.11 ERA, because right before that, it was 1 2/3, 6 hits, 6 earned runs against the Texas Rangers.
Those crooked numbers and small innings pitch will definitely get that ERA up. But once again, we're talking about a guy not being successful pitching down in the zone. He's having more success pitching up in the zone. Bill, as we spoke about before, the launch angle is definitely a direct cause of that.
Yep, and you know, you get a guy that throws 92, 93 miles an hour, very effective up in the strike zone, particularly when you have that splitter to go with it. It changes the eye angle of the hitter. I mean, when you got fastballs going up, the splitter coming out, pretty much the same arm slot, and then it dives as it gets to home plate. Unusual to have 2 starters that both throw the splitter.
Breaking pitch to center field. Cave gives it a look, and he has space. And that's the first out. Jason, with a comment on Brad Miller, said it was a great pickup for the Rays. I thought Nick Franklin and him were going to be cornerstones of the Rays franchise. Guess not. We have them both now, LOL. That's true, and this is the defense for the Minnesota Twins.
Minnesota Twins defense, Eddie Rosario in left field, Jake Cave in center, Max Kepler patrolling right field, Joe Mauer at first base, Williams Astudillo getting his first start in the major leagues at second base, Jorge Polanco's at short, Escobar is at third, and catching is Bobby Wilson, and Jake Odorizzi's on the mound.
And 4 outfielders at the moment against Eric Thames. We saw this yesterday as well, and we spoke to Paul Molitor about it. Their outfield coach, Jeff Picker, working hard on the percentages and how often the ball goes on the ground versus in the air for Thames. And they like this combination, and they did it yesterday back in the 3rd inning. Astudillo was the 3rd baseman yesterday, playing in the left field corner. So they go 4 outfielders deep.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, 4 outfielders yesterday, and then late in the game they had 5 infielders, 2 outfielders. So you know, Paul Molitor and the coaching staff kind of breaking the mold defensively a little bit. This is the first we've seen this in Milwaukee, a 4-man outfield.
But Jeff, like you said, Jeff Pickler does a lot of work, and he's getting deep into the stats to see where guys are hitting the ball. If the guys aren't hitting the ball on the ground, and they're hitting most of the balls in the air, they're going to the outfield.
Comment below, what do you think about the 4-man outfield currently being put together by the Minnesota Twins against Eric Thames?
I like the 6-man infield yesterday, including the pitcher.
Right.
It worked. It actually worked.
That's right. You're a pitcher. You guys are fielders, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm my mistake right there.
And if Polanco makes a good throw to first to home to get that runner, they get a chance to turn 2, and now you have an open base, and you don't have to walk Brad Miller. You don't mind walking him because you get another shot to get an out.
Right. I mean, you know, it is.
So it worked out. We just didn't. I mean, they didn't execute.
Right. I mean, a good throw, as you mentioned, from Polanco, and that's going to be a double play, home to first.
A free base for Aguilar. And Dave with the comment, I love the 4-man outfield. It adds validation to my softball career.
Easy, big fella.
Well played. Well, Trevor said, I think Thames needs to take advantage of this alignment, but he won't. How do you take advantage of that?
Bunt.
That's what Emma just said. He should bunt towards third on the 4-man outfield, but we rarely see that. This is something that has been put together against or constructed against Joey Gallo, Justin Smoke this season.
How many times do you think Derek Thames has bunted in his career? I mean, the reason that they don't do
because they hadn't done it.
They haven't done it, and they're afraid if they pop it up, they just wasted in that bat. But yeah, I mean, this point in the game, I mean, first inning, 1 out. You got Aguilar, Shaw, the big boppers coming up. I mean, it's got to be in their mind. Maybe just tendency is maybe should I push one down to third base?
And you hitting second, you can be a table setter for Aguilar and Shaw, right?
Right. Yeah. It's got to be tempting.
But I think it just reconfirms that it's not that easy. When people see, well, they just hit the ball to that side of the field. It's not. If it was that simple, these are the best baseball players in the world. If it's that easy, they would be doing it all day long. We wouldn't see a shift.
Yeah, right.
If it was that easy.
If you watched yesterday's game, you know what we're talking about.
And it really does look easy from up here in the stands. But you get down there, I mean, it's amazing how fast the game is when you sit in the dugout, you're on the mound. I mean, it happens in a blink of an eye.
But I understand because those guys make it look easy. And it's a fast-paced game. Balls are coming fast. I mean, balls in the infield, they're not just perfect hops every time. Guys are incredible. It's a good pick-off move right there by Odorizzi. Almost caught him leaning towards second base.
Thames will swipe when you don't pay attention to him.
Aguilar wasn't a fan of that strike 2 call, but one of the best 2-strike hitters. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Also a ton of damage against the Twins so far this year. There are his numbers with 2 strikes, and those are exceptional. Major League average 170 and 271. He is clobbering those marks.
Some guys get the 2 strikes and they panic. It's obvious when Aguilar gets to two strikes, he's very comfortable in that situation.
Yeah, bat just starting. That's why his on-base percentage is high. He's not afraid to take pitches. He will hit well with 2 strikes, and as a result, he's going to draw some walks.
And it goes to what you were saying earlier. He's just not a home run hitter. He can hit. He can hit for average.
Yeah, he's hitting 313. Most people look at him when you come into town and they think, oh, this guy, all or nothing. He's going to hit home runs or strike out. Not the case. This guy's a good hitter.
And I love the story. He didn't start the season in the big leagues, and look at those numbers.
Yep, he was buried in the Cleveland Indians organization. And this is what we're talking about. 39 hits with 2 strikes. Look at the spray chart, Hawk. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, how do you really shift this guy? You don't. You can see the defense for the Twins here. I mean, when you have a spray chart like that, I mean, hitting the ball line to line, it's tough to defend him, and it's got to be tough to pitch to him.
You don't like to face guys like this because they're hitting the ball where it's pitched. You love those guys where all they want to do is pull the ball, because right-hand hitter, you just pitch him away. He's going to pull a ball. It's going to be a 6-3 or a 5-3.
Yeah.
And as you saw, the most 2-strike homers, 10 of them already this season.
He's getting a lot of mistakes, and he's not missing many.
And on the other part of his game, he's a really good first baseman. Good footwork, good hands, good throwing arm. Not so much a base runner.
Can't be good at everything, right?
And we saw that yesterday, too, as he was caught home early in the game.
Well, I kind of like the aggressiveness, because he
blasts the ball to left field, but that will twist foul and had the distance.
I like the aggressiveness because he made Rosario make a good throw home. If that ball's not right to the catcher, he's safe.
Yeah. And it just hooks foul. He got ahead of it. I guess I shouldn't say not a good base runner. He's just not fast. You don't have to be fast to be a good base runner.
It's true.
Should they be pitching him more carefully, too, at this point right now, in this situation? That was some loud contact. There you go, ball 4. Odorizzi says uncle. And back-to-back walks for Thames and for Aguilar. And just to answer a quick question from Armando, who said, when is Jimmy Nelson coming back? I did ask Craig Counsell earlier today. It sounds like they're hopeful for August as a more realistic timetable for him at this point. They said nothing new as far as his rehab.
Right, he's just playing toss on flat ground. He's nowhere near getting on the mound yet, and I think any time in August is best case scenario for Jimmy.
Now it's Travis Shaw. All 14 of those home runs have come against right-handed pitching this year. And Odorizzi sneaks a strike to the inside corner. Bill, is this true? I just read this morning that Travis Shaw took some ground balls last homestand at second base.
Yeah. The Brewers have been talking about adding a bat in the middle of the infield. But you know how rumors are. I mean, when stuff is out there and everybody's talking about it, pretty good chance it's not going to happen, right? I mean, that's the way it always works. But I think the Brewers are looking for a bat. I think they're pretty content right now, at least with their bullpen. There's Nate Orff, fan favorite last night.
And we will see plenty of this. 0-2 is upstairs.
I also think with this day and age with so much social media and things leaking out, teams definitely have to keep what they're planning or thinking very close to their hip.
And throw out smoke screens too, right?
Or just let people assume.
Keep people off the scent.
You'll see aggressiveness today in the comments section, like JJ. Do you think the Brewers will get Manny Machado? Hey, if Shaw's playing second, someone like Machado at short, or Mike Moustakas has been brought up for third base.
At what price, though? I mean, you're talking about a rental in Machado, right? I mean, I don't think David Stearns, he's a very shrewd manager of the roster. I'm not sure how much you give up for 2 months.
Some areas of need for Milwaukee. You can see starters ERA around middle of the pack in the National League. On the lower end in terms of innings, strikeouts and strikeout to walk ratio, and then the middle infield, the offensive production from second base and shortstop. Those are some need spots.
Yeah, well, the starters earned run average, I think it's gotten a lot better over the last couple of months. They get off to a very rough start.
There's that high fastball right there from Odorizzi, where he's been very successful away from left-hand hitters into right-hand hitters.
And one thing to keep in mind this time of day, these 3 o'clock starts, at Miller Park here, the shadows can really create some issues in seeing spin out of the hand for the pitcher. I think we saw that with Shaw. He's not a guy that's going to chase like that too often. We saw Kepler pop up a pitch right down the middle, might not have seen it very well. So it's kind of tricky right now in these 3 o'clock starts this time of year.
And I remember pitching here, and you're right. Wanted to be in the game at this time, especially a 1 o'clock start.
Right. It can get tricky. And it's really not an advantage for the Brewers. I mean, you talk about, guys like Ryan Braun, he's been here for, 11 years now. And I said, do you ever get used to it? He said, not really. You really don't.
Braun's sporting the stars all up and down his sleeve.
I see that. Everyone a fan of that? Let us know. Like the red, white, and blue, and the stars and stripes mixed into the uniforms. July 4th tomorrow, celebrating Independence Day at Miller Park. They'll finish up this season series.
I like the socks that they're wearing. Some of the guys are wearing that look like a flag. Blue sock on the right leg, and the stripes with the white background on the left.
There it is. That's a mismatch on purpose.
There you go. Hawks got some.
LaTroy has it in the booth. Save that for later when we come on camera. We'll keep that on the desk. So stay tuned if you want to get a close-up.
That clubhouse guy, Rodney, was opening the box, and he was like, "Hey, you want a pair?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll take a pair."
Those look good in the tuxedo, cool. Right? People wear funky socks, right?
All the time.
Yeah.
You got to have a strong sock game.
Yeah. Are you in?
I'm in.
That hasn't gotten into my drawer yet. I'm more of a solid black, solid blue. Now those are sweet.
This is turning into a very long bottom portion of the first inning. Junior Guerra hanging around in the dugout. And there was a comment from someone, LaTroy, saying, high pitch counts early on in games hurting the bullpen for the Twins lately.
I think everything's hurting the Twins lately. Everything. I mean, even when you get a good start by the starter, you might have one reliever come in and not be able to do his job that day, and then it just starts to snowball. So it's been a lot of things that had contributed to a slow start to the season for the Minnesota Twins.
But Odorizzi escapes just like Garrett does, so we are scoreless after 1, and our social media reporter today is Steven Nelson. Hey, Steven.
Hey, Scotty, it's a pleasure to be here with you and the people of Facebook for the border battle. I am in a battle with the sun, and it is a battle that I am losing. Have the towel here. We're going to be running all around Miller Park, showing you the sights and the sounds, but right now, we're setting the social scene.
Oh, yeah. All right, now hit it. Yeah. Oh! We broke the fireplace.
So Brock and Griffin Holt, shout to them, and also shouts to Michael Lorenzen, who has 3 home runs in his 7 plate appearances. That's a big deal because he's a pitcher. Now, one of those home runs was on his wife Cassie's birthday, and you see Cassie going nuts in the stands. But Emlo and Show, as in Shohei, it's been fun to watch them pitch and hit. And how about Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna Jr.? Been fun to watch those guys in Atlanta getting pedicures. Do not knock it until you try it. That's all I'm going to say. And then it's good to see this, right? Vladimir Guerrero Jr. taking some cuts in the cage as he works his way back from a knee injury. Hopefully he's back healthy soon for the Jays organization. We can't wait to see him at the big league level at some point soon. Scotty.
Steven, apparently we have a resident pedicure specialist in the booth. LaTroy.
I'm all about taking care of my feet.
Bill?
No, I've never done it. You know, I was a catcher. I probably should. You're looking at me like I'm crazy, right?
I've never done it either.
I just started about
You haven't?
8 years ago, and I thought it was the craziest thing at first. And then my wife, I had an ingrown toenail, and I had to have the doctor come to the hotel and shoot me up and cut my nail at an angle.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, how can I not get these? He was like, first of all, don't cut them yourself, and if you do, don't cut them too short. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just pay somebody to do it right. And that's when I started getting them. Thanks to my wife also, Anita, because she was like, let's go.
How often do you do that?
Probably once a month.
Once a month.
Once a month.
Okay.
Once a month. Because your toenails grow, and I don't want to have to feel that pain I felt when the doctor was shooting my toe up, and he came in and cut my nail sideways at an angle, and he didn't deaden it enough, and I was like, whoa, doc, I need another shot.
Man.
And he said, oh, you'll be fine to pitch the next day, and I had a pulse in my toe, big toe, for about 3 days.
Now, how much does a good pedicure run you?
Oh, man. A good one with the massage, your calves, and the wax, the hot wax on your feet to soften your feet up. Probably about $45.
Wow.
But my daughter and I, we found a new place. They had a bar in this place and everything called Majesty, and it's in McKinney, Texas. And I said, I'll be going there, and plus it's closer to my house.
I'll take the recommendation. I'm going to give it a shot. Junior Guerra fools Jake Cave.
Yep, splitter. Doesn't have a lot of dip to it. It's like a changeup. It's like the Jeremy Jeffress split change.
It's a good arm speed right there, and that's what sells it the best, is when it looks like a fastball arm speed, and you let the grip take the miles per hour off.
Tough to pick up as a hitter. Changeup, one of the best pitches in baseball.
The best pitch in baseball, I think. If you get a right-hand pitcher that can throw a changeup, a right-hand pitcher that can throw a changeup in on a right-hand pitch, there's no way the hitter can pick up the difference.
And you know the other thing about a changeup, it's pretty easy on the arm. You know, not like the splitter, sliders, curveballs. I mean, they're tough on the elbow, forearms, but changeups. I mean, if you're a young kid, and if you're a coach, you know, teach changeups. Easy on the arm.
Bobby Wilson 1 for his last 26 over an 11-game span. The Twins hurting without their regular catcher, Jason Castro, a slight tear of the meniscus in his right knee. Ended up with season-ending surgery, and he went down in mid-May.
You talk about the Twins' struggles this year, 35 and 46 in third place in the American League Central. And I think a lot of fans forget that they don't have Sano. They just got Jorge Polanco back. Urban Santana's out with surgery on his throwing finger. Got Byron Buxton, Castro, and Mauer's been on the DL also.
That's a lot of run production.
That's 5 starters out at some point during the season, and at some point they were all out.
Wilson reaching for it, and that's put away by Miller for the second out.
No, you can cover maybe 1 or 2 at a time, but you have that many out. It's tough to cover that, even with a very deep minor league system.
Yeah, they definitely had a card stacked against them. You know, with the Brewers, you had Keon Broxton come up to take Lorenzo Cain's place. He's done an outstanding job. You know, you try to set your AAA team roster up where you would ex-big leaguer guys that are still big leaguers, so they can have a chance to come up if you need be. But the Twins did that, and it's still just been overwhelmed by injuries.
We saw that comment flash across the screen as that 1-0 pitch is slapped by Odorizzi to right field and caught by Thames. The comment saying the Twins need to get back to 500 before the All-Star break, and that will be difficult to pull off. We are really creeping close to the Midsummer Classic. The Twins 10 games back of the Cleveland Indians in the American League Central. The Brewers leading the National League Central. Let's get you caught up on both teams lately.
It's the Brewers who own the best record in the senior circuit.
The Brewers in the Central are the best team. They're the most athletic team.
Another gem of a play defensively.
Look at this play right here.
Like a cat.
Christian Yelich is a terrific player. I love their offense.
Lightning strikes twice.
Aguilar, my best kept secret right now in Major League Baseball.
You look at the NL home run leaders right now. Who would have ever guessed Jesus Aguilar would be sitting there, number 2?
And Aguilar in the right field. He's watching. It's flying. It's gone. A home run to win it. Jesus Aguilar.
Brewers there at home taking on the Twins.
They're a perplexing team. This is a young group of talented players that will continue taking that next step.
Their offense turned it on. They look like a powerful club there.
And ball, a grand slam for Robbie Grossman.
Minnesota Twins have 2 guys that are really standing out. Am I right?
I was all about Escobar.
Combine him up with Eddie Rosario.
Look at these guys. Eye-popping numbers. We're not talking about like ones you can overlook when it comes to trying to figure out who's going to DC.
Escobar's 34th double of the season. Hitting a groove here offensively.
Status reports there on the Twins and the Brewers, and on-demand highlight packages for every regular season game are all available right now on Facebook Watch. Weekly recaps for all 30 teams. You can run through every game, every week. Anything you want to know about your team is right there for you on Facebook Watch. We are all over the MLB scene, and we're in the bottom of the 2nd inning. VR will bat first, followed by Kratz and Broxton for Milwaukee. Scoreless through 1.5 at Miller Park. MLB Live on Facebook Watch. Scott Braun, LaTroy Hawkins, Bill Schroeder, and Steven Nelson with you. And Jake Odorizzi, 31 pitches into his day already. A long first inning, although the Brewers were not able to do any damage. Thames and Aguilar stranded on 1st and 2nd. And then Odorizzi strikes out the next 2 batters in Shaw and in Braun. So now VR. And also that last swing from Odorizzi, Alex pointed out, not a bad swing from him. He said going to be tough to top Gibson going for 2 for 2 at the plate last night. And there was a mystery. Did we ever figure out why they collected the first baseball for Kyle Gibson after the base hit? It was his 3rd career hit, not his first.
Well, he doesn't plan to have a lot of hits, so you can just collect the balls from the hits that you will get, and you don't have that many. Yeah. If he ended up with 10 hits in his career, that's just 10 baseballs. Part of it.
I didn't know that's how it worked.
And before they asked, I was over 7 with a sacrifice. I don't have a ball to collect.
You're anticipating the questions in the comment section. Well done. So we're about to see pitch number 35 from Odorizzi, coming off a fine start against the Chicago White Sox. 6 scoreless innings. And he did make some tweaks. Last time around, I watched his start, and they spoke about the separation of the ball out of his glove. It wasn't really about the pitching hand, but about the glove hand, and he's bringing the glove down a little bit in his windup, and it's effective there. Tidy work and a strikeout of the yard. It's his 3rd, 3 in a row.
Yeah, it's amazing how just maybe a slight change in your mechanics, even your glove position, can put you in position to be able to repeat your delivery and throw more strikes.
And I think with the glove also creating just a little bit more deception, hiding the ball just a tad bit longer. And with that, the longer you can hide the ball as a pitcher, that works in your favor, because the least amount of time the hitters can pick it up.
And that's right, and that's what hitters try and do. I mean, guys that show the ball early, hitters love that.
First pitch taken outside from Eric Kratz, and good news. We just spoke about Kyle Gibson. He's going to join us after this bottom of the 2nd inning. So get your questions in now for Kyle Gibson, and we will relay them to him in the dugout. He'll be with us for the entire top of the 3rd inning.
We can ask him about the baseball.
We will.
Right.
How many does he plan to collect? Again, starting pitcher Kyle Gibson. He went yesterday for Minnesota, and he'll join us soon on MLB Live on Facebook Watch. He will watch the top of the 3rd with us and answer as many questions in the comment section as possible. Thought it was fascinating when Paul Molitor told us about the pitch usage for Jake Odorizzi and how they have been stressing fastball splitter, like you mentioned, and they saw a tendency for him to go to his slider, which he called more of a cutter at this point, and they're trying to get him to shy away from that, and we've seen the game plan so far.
Right, with the pitch, talked about pitch usage.
That's to right field for Kepler on the move, and the 2nd out.
In those 7 starts, when he started to get in a little trouble, started to throw more sliders, and the years that he was successful, he threw less sliders, and fastball split coming out of the same arm angle, arm side, up in the zone. The high fastball playing with the split middle and down was where he's had his most success. So use 2 pitches more, 1 pitch less.
Right. I mean, master 2, right? As opposed to trying command 3. There's a good split right there. Good take by Broxton.
Keon Broxton slugging .600 in 6 games so far this season since his call-up. Making the most of his opportunity. This is a deep position player group for Milwaukee, even with injuries.
Yeah, a lot of center fielders that can get it done. I mean, you got Brett Phillips down in the minor leagues. He might have the best arm in all of baseball. A throw that he made last year was the hardest thrown baseball from an outfield all year. Now check out this catch, and we've seen Broxton do this now 3 times in a couple of years, robbing Joe Mauer of a home run, getting to the wall, jumping straight up. Some kind of athleticism for Keon Broxton. It's amazing.
Had a chance to say hello to the kid today. He was in their cafeteria in the clubhouse, and just went and introduced myself. We actually have the same agent, and Reggie Jefferson, Larry Reynolds, and Mike Dillon with Reynolds Sports Management. I had never met him before, and those guys just raved about what an incredible athlete Broxton is. And I was like, oh, he is. I saw it last night. I witnessed with my own eyes.
And he's really working hard on a consistent approach, trying to make more contact. When he struggles, he strikes out a lot. But there's no questioning his ability. It's just he got to get that consistency at the plate down.
He has some thunder in his bat when he makes contact.
Yep.
Broxton has some speed. 20+ home runs, 20+ stolen bases last year in the major leagues. Also, if you want to see a spectacular catch, go back to Friday. That's the game of the year for him so far. 2 home runs, and he robbed Scooter Gennett in the 9th inning. So if you go back to those daily recaps on Facebook Watch, check out Reds Brewers from Friday.
That line drive in a gap in right center. Fully stretched out, able to keep the ball in the webbing. As if Lorenzo Cain, who's on the disabled list, isn't good enough. The Brewers have Keon Broxton that can fill in nicely in center field. You miss Cain's bat for sure and all the other things that he provides, but defensively, Keon Broxton outstanding.
0-2 chasing is Junior Guerra, and Jake Odorizzi has racked up his 4th strikeout. Stairs Johnson just said, I hope Broxton can stay in the majors. Need to stop his big swings. A couple big swings from Kyle Gibson yesterday were successful. Let's see his work on the mound first, as he's putting together a very strong year for the Minnesota Twins. 5 innings yesterday, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, but overall a 3.58 ERA. This is a career year for Kyle Gibson, and 2 for 2 yesterday. He scored 2 times. And he is joining us right now on MLB Live on Facebook Watch as we will continue this into the top of the 3rd inning. So questions for Kyle Gibson, fire away. Kyle, how are you? You ready to go?
Guys, what's up? How y'all doing?
Tell us about yesterday before we take in all of those questions. At the plate, we'll get to the pitching, but at the plate, we just were talking about how you collected the baseball. Do you plan on collecting all of your base hits in your career?
Yeah, so the thought was yesterday that was my first hit, and so everybody was getting the ball for me, thinking they were going to make a big post-game celebration about it. And then come to find out, everybody didn't realize that I had one in 15 and then one in 16. So that was my 3rd career hit, so thankfully I now have a ball. Joe West asked me a couple years ago in St. Louis if I wanted to keep a hit off that I had in St. Louis, and I said, actually, Joe, it's my 2nd, so it's all good. But thinking back, I just heard you guys talking a little bit about collecting baseballs. I probably should get every one because I'm really not sure how many I'm going to get. So now I've got my 1st hit, I've got my 3rd hit, and I might just start keeping them from now on.
LaTroy recommends it. He said keep all of the baseballs that you have.
I don't know what to say, though, when you get on first base for the 7th time in your career and you're asking the umpire to get the ball. I don't know if that's a good look or not.
It's yours. You can ask for whatever you want, Gibby.
I don't know.
Everybody's getting standing ovations and hat tips for doing nothing.
Should we keep all of our strikeouts too? I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Well, you're going to get a lot more strikeouts. You're going to get base hits. I can tell you that much.
I sure hope so. I hope so.
All right, Kyle, well, let's dig in. So let's start with Michael, who wants to talk about a different component of your game. How important is fielding your position?
Yeah, I take a lot of pride in fielding. I'm probably one of the few guys that loves doing PFP in spring training. It makes me feel like an athlete again. I played shortstop for basically all of high school and then played a little bit of first base as well. And everybody in here knows I love to shag during BP and run around and feel like an athlete again. So fielding my position is pretty important, and I take a lot of pride in it.
These 2 questions are similar, so I'll ask them both together. From PJ, he said you've pitched well recently. What in your sequencing or repertoire has caused that? Let's start with that from PJ.
Yeah, trying to really let the hitter tell me what to throw. They're up there with an approach, and I kind of have the scouting report on where I want to start with each guy. And then you kind of go from there on how they're approaching the situation. If they're taking a first pitch heater a certain way, if they're swinging at a first pitch slider a certain way, they're going to tell you their approach. So, trying to allow them to, not dictate the at bat, but allow them to, kind of help me on what to throw. So, they can tell you with a swing and a slider down and in if it's time for a fastball in, or they'll tell you those certain things.
We'll watch this top of the 3rd with you as we continue to receive questions from fans on Facebook in the comments section. Keep them coming. This is Joe Mauer, who struck out first time around against Junior Guerra. Kyle Gibson with us, and so this is the 2nd part of that question, and this one comes from Carl. He said, what has changed in your mechanics that have made you a top pitcher on the Twins?
I don't know if it's too much mechanical, because I've been doing the same mechanics ever since last year. In 2016, I had that little shoulder strain that I dealt with early in the season, and kind of nagged and just stayed with me all throughout the 2016. And going into 2017, I knew I needed to do something different. Playing catch, getting ready for the year, so I started doing a connection ball and DuraThrow program with a guy down in Florida, in Plant City at the Florida Baseball Ranch. And I think what that kind of did was it kind of raised my arm angle a little bit.
Joe Mauer, fly ball to left. Ryan Braun shading with the glove and ultimately coming up with it for the first out.
I think I raised my arm angle a little bit and allowed that to be a little bit more consistent because, wow, that was cold. That was cold. Nice little cup of water down the back from
look
Brian
who it
Dozier.
is. We saw him earlier, Kyle. Brian
Thanks,
Dozier making an appearance.
But you know what? I think what that did is it allowed me to stay on top of more pitches and to allow that to be more consistent. You know, Hawk will tell you whenever you're getting under a changeup or under a slider, it's just not the place you want to be. So trying to do a better job of being on top of it. And I think the arm care program that I started doing in turn really helped that out.
This is two-hitter Jorge Polanco, who ripped a double back in the first inning. So this from Carl, or no, we just asked Carl. Callan, I'm sorry. This is a good one for kids watching. What pitch would you recommend is most important to develop?
Changeup, 100%. You know, my dad never let us throw breaking balls early on until I was probably, 13 or 14. And then we got to start mixing them in. But, when I was a kid and my hands were too small to throw a circle changeup, I would try to, get 3 fingers on the ball, 4 fingers on the ball. Try to do anything to slow it down a little bit. And I think that really kind of helped me going into high school and then into college and ultimately into pro ball, having that already developed as I got against, the upper end hitters. Because especially as a starter for me, I need to have that changeup play off my sinker, and I need to have that extra pitch to keep hitters off balance.
And this from Peter, based on your pitch repertoire, he said, who recommended that you throw fastballs more up in the zone instead of your sinker? And Kyle, I mean, that's something that we've seen in Major League Baseball as a growing theme based on the fact that we've seen these uppercut swings and the swing paths change for many hitters. Has that led to it as we see a strikeout for Junior Guerra, Jorge Polanco, with Eddie Rosario coming up next?
Yeah, they go hand in hand a little bit. I started to notice that, even when I was throwing really good sinkers at the bottom of the zone, hitters know that, they want to take away my sinker because they know ground balls are outs quite a bit. So I was seeing more and more guys really try to get under my sinker, no matter if it was at the bottom of the zone or wherever it was. And I kind of had an aha moment in Toronto last year when I really started throwing my four-seamer more. And it was really a pitch that I kind of felt in the back of my mind. Well, if I'm going to throw a fastball in the zone, I want it to be a sinker moving good. And then in that outing against Toronto, I really had a lot of first pitch four-seamers get fouled off from righties, especially, up and over first base into the stands. And I started thinking, man, why are they missing these pitches right here? Easy. Oh, nice.
There it is.
And it kind of was just an aha moment for me and saying, you know what, this pitch can be a completely different pitch for me, and I started throwing a little bit more.
Kyle, this was awesome. Thank you so much for the time, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Kyle Gibson with us on MLB Live on Facebook Watch. And now downstairs to Steven Nelson.
Hey, Scotty. What's going on? We got some baseball factoids to share with you from this dugout here. By the way, the shade's creeping in. Loving it. Everybody here in this camera well is counting down to when the shade hits us. But I want to show you some numbers, all right? LaTroy Hawkins, the guy you're in the booth with, played 21 seasons for 11 teams. 10th most appearances in the history of Major League Baseball. So salute to you, Hawk. But he doesn't have the record for the most number of teams played for. So that's going to be our trivia question. Excuse me. Twiver? What is that word? Trivia question for you guys on Facebook Live right now. As we take a look back and stroll down memory lane. LaTroy, your favorite city of all these that we're going to rattle through, which one is it?
I have two favorites. I had 3 favorite cities out of the 11 cities that I stayed in. Minneapolis, Milwaukee, and Denver are my favorite by far, hands down.
This is going to be a while.
Yeah, seriously. Houston and Milwaukee and the Angels and the Mets. I think you mixed the Rockies back in there. And then the Toronto Blue Jays. So count them all up, and you got 11 different teams. My question for you guys, both in the booth and in the comment section, which pitchers do hold the record for most number of teams played for? Who are the 2 pitchers and how many teams? You don't need to name all the specific teams. That would be a little aggressive, but the number of teams. So the 2 pitchers and how many teams they play for. We're going to tell you the answer when we come back a little bit later.
Okay, perfect. So we'll save it. I'm not going to say the answer for now. And also, LaTroy, can you just show us? Let me get your left arm, please, before we start the inning off again. Let me see this left arm. Okay. That says 1,042. That is pro. See that? That is stitched onto the left arm. 1,042 appearances for that man. Never forget it.
Awesome. I'll tell you
That
what.
is beautiful.
LaTroy, your 2 years in Milwaukee were some of the best the Brewers have had, 2010, 2011.
Brad Miller to right field, and that's going to drop. Max Kepler traps it. And then the throw to second base is not in time. Jorge Polanco with the tag too late, and Brad Miller on the first pitch has himself a leadoff double in the beginning of the bottom of the third.
Yeah, Brad Miller certainly made an impact. 3 hits yesterday, the big walk-off walk, and that one Kepler just not able to get there. I think he kind of took some baby steps as he got down toward the line and was not able to make the catch. Good throw, though. Kepler with a good arm and a good slide by Miller. Infield side of the bag.
I think Kepler would be the first one to tell you. You think he could have taken a better route to that ball.
And now Eric Thames. And this was when Jake Odorizzi lost his control for a couple batters. Thames walked, and so did Aguilar. That was back in the first inning, but then Odorizzi recovered with 2 strikeouts. And that's why we're scoreless here in the bottom of the third.
Well, they can track everything in the big leagues these days. You can see the banana route. I think he went back a little bit too far. He should have gone straight across. And I think he was kind of tentative getting to that baseball. I think he was more worried about the ball getting by him than he was catching it. Getting back to that question about the most teams, I think that somebody just tied that record.
Yes.
Is that not true?
That is a good hint. And let me tell you, I've been looking at the comments section. I have seen dozens of correct answers already.
Yeah, smart people.
They are. They're all over it. One of those answers is a fresh one. Thames in the air. That'll twist foul.
Initials OD?
For the new one?
No, not the new one. The new one just made
for
a start.
the old one.
For the old
Yes.
one. Yeah.
Yes.
Made a start for the A's recently.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, we get back to my 2 years here. The first year I was hurt. I ended up having labrum surgery. But the second year we had a lot of fun. We had a good team, good chemistry. We started to play better every month. We got better and better. We had a good bullpen. We traded for Francisco Rodriguez at the break, at the deadline, and had John Ackford, myself, Saito, and myself. We actually shared the 7th inning, so he would pitch one night, I would pitch the other night, and we didn't blow a save the entire second half.
Yeah, good times in Milwaukee, but you certainly left a good legacy, Hawk. And
Thames in the air. That'll drop for a base hit. And being held up at third is Miller. Eric Thames coming through with a single, and the Milwaukee Brewers putting the pressure on Jake Odorizzi in the bottom of the third.
Looked like something off speed that Thames was able to wait back on. Maybe fastball, up and away, not off speed, but able to hook it out to right. And Miller wanted to make sure that ball wasn't going to get caught. And he froze at second base. Took a while to get going, and that's why he wasn't able to score.
And now the ultra-dangerous Jesus Aguilar, team leader in home runs and RBIs. After the Thames base hit, he's on first. Miller on third.
For Odorizzi, not the guy you want up there with man in scoring position with no outs.
Now you saw that high fastball, and everybody's talking about throwing a high fastball, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but if you want to throw the high fastball, you're better having it up and in, up and away. Hitter still has a chance to get to it.
Well, that's true. But I think when we talk about the high fastball, we talk about guys who pitch up there and get swing and misses. They're guys with good spin rate. They have very good spin rate.
Right.
You know, hitters usually see the ball, the fastball, when it's coming down, but guys with very good spin rate, that fastball stays true, which gives the illusion that the ball is starting to rise because it never starts to fall.
Good finish.
Yep.
Saw that comment saying Aguilar for MVP. He's definitely on the list right now. See what he does with the 0-2 pitch. Fouls it back. And Jake Odorizzi actually has shined in the 3rd inning. Yeah, his strongest inning so far this season, a 1.69 mark. He was able to wiggle out of damage back in the 1st inning. And a 4-pitch walk to Keon Broxton in the 2nd. He was stranded there. 3 walks and 2 hits on the board for the Milwaukee Brewers so far today. Another 0-2. And Aguilar goes after it. A little smack with the bat on the helmet. It's a strikeout for Jake Odorizzi, the 5th of the game for him.
We've seen a lot of hitters swinging at that high fastball way out of the strike zone. Unusual for Aguilar.
That's one of those. That's the high fastball that you know the guy can't get to. The one that Thames just hit, that was still in hitting area, but that one was way out of the hitting zone. Odorizzi put himself in a good spot by getting the big punch out right there. Now he's 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning.
Yeah, double play ball.
Pitcher's best friend.
Now Travis Shaw, strikeout victim back in the 1st. Next batch of questions should be for pitching coach Derek Johnson of the Milwaukee Brewers. He's going to join us after the bottom of the 3rd. Again, questions for the pitching coach of the Milwaukee Brewers. If you want to ask him about Junior Guerra or anyone else on the staff, we will speak to him for a few minutes in between innings. Fire away in the comments section. There it is. One of the brightest minds in the game right now.
The incredible work that he's done with the pitching staff that has been banged up quite a bit, but still, particularly the starting rotation, but just continues to get the most out of each and every one of his starters. These guys have been pretty good over the course of about 2 months.
Kyle Schwarber of the Chicago Cubs spoke about the Brewers pitching staff the other day. He said their game plans are excellent and they execute them.
It's okay. I mean, everybody has a game plan, but the main part of that, the end of that answer was you have to execute. I think all teams are getting all the same information now. A couple years ago, only a certain teams had all the information. Now, every team, their baseball ops department is on steroids right now. Don't like to use that term, but it is what it is. Yeah. Every team has baseball operations. They got young guys coming out of college. A lot of work to be done.
In the air, it's Jorge Polanco racing over. Him or Rosario. He's called off by the left fielder. And that is out number 2.
Pretty good work right there by Odorizzi, getting Aguilar and Shaw with a man at 3rd, less than 2 outs. Strikeout pop-up. That's good pitching.
Not out of it yet. Got a little bit more work to do. But you're right. Execution is the key. You can plan all day. You can get all the information, all the analytical numbers. You can do all the shifts you want. You can do whatever. But it still boils down to execution. You have to execute.
And that's where a good catcher comes in. I mean, if you have a catcher that's really getting into the scouting reports, he works with the pitching coach, and you kind of leave a lot of that to the catcher. I think the pitcher plays follow the leader. I'm not saying he throws down a sign, you throw anything he wants, but you got to always go with what the pitcher feels best in throwing as opposed to what the hitter can hit.
Ryan Braun goes after the first pitch. He struck out in the 1st. That ended the frame. Coming into the day, his last 8 games have produced a .300 batting average. He was battling some back stiffness, but good to go yesterday and back in the lineup again today.
Rick Townsend tries to manage his playing time. He's not an everyday player anymore, and he'll play about 5-6 days a week.
Thames on first, Miller on 3rd, and Braun again goes after a similar pitch. Do you go back to it one more time?
Why not? I won't say Braun can't hit that ball, but you can't hit that ball if you're thinking about pulling it. You're going to have to hit that ball to where it's pitched, and that's to the right side of the ball field.
2 outs and runners in scoring position this season. Those numbers are outstanding. see if Odorizzi can work some magic yet again. Milwaukee stirring the pot each inning, but coming up empty so far. And the pitch count is definitely a problem for Odorizzi. He's at 65 already. And no off day the rest of the week for either side. Twins Brewers again tomorrow on Independence Day, and then the Twins have a Thursday through Saturday series against Baltimore. Jake Odorizzi has fanned Ryan Braun. Great call from Lisa after Odorizzi was in trouble. She said he'll strike out the side. Every batter chases the high fastball with 2 strikes. You can't resist. Well, after allowing runners on first and third with no outs, he strikes out Aguilar, gets a fly ball out from Shaw, and whiffs Ryan Braun. And so after 3 innings, no score between the Twins and the Brewers. MLB Live on Facebook Watch continues with Derek Johnson, pitching coach for the Milwaukee Brewers, joining us very soon. This was a mega jam for Junior Guerra back in the first, Bill.
He has the ability to get himself out of trouble as well. I mean, he's got the stuff. I mean, the fastball is much better. You see, he got a little help from his friends out there in center field. Keon Broxton, if it stays in the ballpark, pretty good chance he's going to be able to make a play. So the Twins have been able to load the bases in the first inning. Pop up fly ball.
And let's welcome in the pitching coach for the Milwaukee Brewers right now. It is Derek Johnson joining us on MLB Live on Facebook Watch. Derek, thanks for the time. Let's get straight to the comment section. And the first question, who's got the filthiest stuff in the league, in your opinion? This from Andrew.
Oh, wow. Geez, there's a lot of them. We haven't seen Kershaw yet, and he's always really good. And some of the guys that we've seen so far this year, all the guys from the Phillies, and I don't know if I could pick just one. We see good guys every single night.
Hey, Derek, tell us about Junior Guerra. What do you see out of him and his ability to get out of that jam in the first inning?
Well, he's a survivor. I think that's sort of the way that you have to look at him. He wiggles out of stuff, and he's been pretty good at it throughout his career. So it's good to see that in the first inning, and hopefully we can have a couple easy ones here next couple.
And this one from Christopher. Is the Brewer pitching where you want it to be, where you expected it at this time of the season?
I don't know if you can ever say it's exactly where you want it to be. It seems like you're always kind of plugging holes, but at the same time, really proud of what these guys have done, and looking forward to to more.
And let's finish with this, if you have a quick second. Updates on Davies and Jimmy Nelson, if you have any, as many fans have asked about them.
Yeah, not really. I mean, Jimmy's still progressing, and we'll kind of see as we go with him. And Davies had a little bit of setback, so we'll see where he is in the next couple of days.
Derek, thank you so much for the time. Good luck the rest of the game.
Thank you.
Pitching coach Derek Johnson, so locked in with this team. Eduardo Escobar, first pitch, bottom of the zone for a strike as Junior Guerra begins the 4th inning.
Yeah, when the Brewers hired him, they described Derek Johnson as a guy that thinks out of the box, and he was one of the guys that started convincing pitchers that aren't throwing 98 miles an hour to pitch up in the strike zone. Brewers were doing that a few years ago. Kind of ahead of his time in that. Tries to get the scouting reports based on what the pitcher is doing and how he's been throwing the baseball, and he just really impressive. He's really making a good name for himself in all around baseball.
Seems to have that unique blend too, analytics, development as well.
Well, you need both.
Yeah,
you need to have both, because you just can't make all decisions totally based on the analytics. I mean, you got to have some good baseball savvy people around you, and you have to bring both of those together, and then you make a conscious decision of which you're going to use it for that particular situation.
0-2 from Junior Guerra to Eduardo Escobar, and he doesn't bite.
It's always interesting to me how certain pitching coaches can get to certain pitchers. That Chris Bosio really turned Jake Arrieta's career around. Did you have a pitching coach that you kind of thought was a kind of your guru, a go-to guy that really changed the way you went about your business?
Right.
And Junior Guerra,
pitch right there,
does get Eduardo Escobar ultimately a little look back at the home plate umpire before he heads back to the dugout. And for Guerra, that is his 4th strikeout of the afternoon.
He's got it working now, doesn't he? The split-fingered fastball, it doesn't have that big dip as it gets to home plate, but Escobar out in front of it.
That arm speed right there sells that pitch. And
yeah.
Escobar couldn't figure out, how did I miss that ball?
Right.
Get a fastball swing on a changeup.
Now you see it, now you don't.
No. But I had Rick Anderson, who was pitching coach. I had him in the minor leagues. I had him in the big leagues. And he's the only pitching coach I've ever had that knew LaTroy Hawkins better than I knew myself. He knew what buttons to push to get to me. And it's probably nothing. He didn't tell me anything probably my other pitching coaches didn't tell me. It's just sometimes you need a different voice. Hearing it from a different voice. And I've learned that over the last couple of years in player development. You know, we're teaching, we're trying to give the same message, but sometimes the message is received better from someone else.
And that's the way hitting coaches are too. I mean, you got to deliver different messages to different hitters, different pitching coaches, differently to different pitchers. That's a tough job. Hitting coach, pitching coach.
Coaching is hard, period.
Yeah.
This was tight.
Man, this was a strike last night. Doug Eddings, the home plate umpire, was given that low strike. Not so much today.
Marty Foster calling balls and strikes today. And that's a 4-pitch walk for Max Kepler. So Junior Guerra had retired 9 in a row until the free pass for Kepler. And now Astudillo coming up. Astudillo 5 for 12 so far in his major league career, called up on Saturday. And there's the pitch count for Guerra, much lower than Odorizzi right now.
That ball strike ratio not that great. Almost 1-to-1, but he's able to get the job done.
What both starting pitchers have showed us, they're very comfortable in uncomfortable situations. They've had a lot of base runners so far early in this game, and they both did a great job getting out of trouble. And Astudillo, his last at bat with bases loaded, he hit that ball in the left center field gap, and Keon Broxton just pretty much outran the baseball to get to that.
And he was shaded toward right field too. That's how far he went.
Nice, smooth, long strides.
Yeah.
He has some Lorenzo Cain in him with those long strides. Lorenzo Cain barely ever makes a diving catch because he always beats the baseball.
Well, and you get this from Torrey Hunter. Torrey always said you have to get good jumps. If you get good jumps on balls, you shouldn't have to dive for balls. When you get bad jumps, that's when you have to dive for balls.
Yeah. Do your work early so you don't have to do it late. That's what Mike Cameron always used to say. That's how he taught Lorenzo Cain.
Get your work in so it becomes just instinctual.
Astudillo with 2 hits yesterday. Brought up as a catcher, but he'll be a utility player for the Twins. He has been an entertaining watch. If you have a question for Paul Molitor about one of the newest Twins, let us know right now in the comments section. Paul Molitor is going to join us after this top half of the 4th inning.
Astudillo came into the game on Tuesday against the Cubs to left field. Later on in the game, he went over to center field. The next day, he started at third base, back-to-back games, and now he's making his first start in the big leagues at second base.
Yeah.
And he's a catcher.
These guys, they come up, they can play anywhere.
That's how you get in the lineup. You got to be like a Swiss Army knife. You have to be.
Yeah. Well, the Twins have 4 guys on their bench because they have 9 relievers in the pen.
The way they've been going lately, they need the pitching.
Yeah.
The bullpen has been taxed.
Yeah, long weekend for the bullpen, a difficult one against the Chicago Cubs. They're on a Midwest road trip right now, and they've lost 5 of 6. 9 games total, but Minnesota swept by the Cubs this weekend. Gave up 35 runs in 24 innings. Kepler walked. He's on first. And 1-2 on its way to Astudillo.
Speaking of my good buddy, Torrey Hunter, the 2002 All-Star game, goes up, wow, right center field wall to rob a home run from Barry Bonds.
Right here at Miller Park. He was something, wasn't he?
Got the nickname Spider-Man for that.
Torrey, good guy.
Two balls and 2 strikes. How much do you work with Torrey Hunter with these young Twins players?
You know, I always tell people, and they say, you and Torrey are great friends. I mean, we live less than half a mile from each other in Texas. But, you know, we got our own lives. I mean, I got a daughter. She goes to school in California, high school in California. So I'm back and forth to California. He got kids. He got grandkids. But we see each other more away from Texas than we do actually in Texas.
Runner on the move. It'll be a tight play at second. And they do call the out at second base.
And here comes Paul Molitor, and
that's not a reviewable call.
You know, second base umpire Mark Rippinger saying he dropped it on the release.
That was a really quick drop, though. Let's have a look at it.
That's an easy double play if he holds on to it. I don't know.
Oh, that's not a drop.
I mean,
that's a drop. That's not a catch.
I mean,
they're calling that on the transfer?
Yeah, he missed that baseball.
Never had it. Clank, clank, as we say. Clank, clank.
Yeah, he was trying to be too quick. Kepler right on top of him. He was trying to go for the double play.
It is a reviewable call.
Yeah,
yes, they'll review it.
Yeah, this might go against the Brew Crew here.
That should be overturned. So would that be an error against Miller?
Oh, yeah.
And he had 2 yesterday.
He's in there for his bat. He was playing a lot of AAA down in AAA, or a lot of shortstop in AAA when he got picked up by the Brewers from Tampa. Does he ever have control of the baseball? Not sure we're going to be able to see it on this angle. Not sure.
Sounds like some Twins fans in the building just saw the replay and cheered.
There are a lot of Twins fans. You know, they had a huge following in their week-long stay playing the White Sox and the Chicago Cubs, and I think on their drive back to Minnesota, everybody stopped here in Milwaukee to catch the series and work their way back up to Minnesota.
Yeah, but it's going to go the other way. It's an error on Miller at second. Never had control of the baseball.
There's Joe West, the crew chief, safe at second base. Kepler's at second. Astudillo at first, reaches on the E6.
You see Joe West with the safe call, and you look at Kepler and give him the finger. Get back to second base.
Veteran umpire. Jake Cave up next, number 7 hitter for Minnesota.
Jake Cave hit a ball on Tuesday against the Cubs. No, Wednesday against the Cubs. Oh, I'm all off right now. It was a weekend series. I'm thinking about the White Sox.
Right, yeah.
He hit a home run on Saturday against the Cubs that straight away center field. It was an absolute bomb. Wind was blowing out, but there were some balls that were hit there to the left, whether the wind was blowing in. It was some balls that were absolutely crushed.
Yeah, I mean, Wrigley Field, when the wind's blowing out, everybody's a home run hitter. But there are days early in the season, April, May, where I'll tell you what, it's just the opposite.
And it lasted a lot longer this year because of the long winter.
Yes, sir.
And teams that are going in there now, oh, the wind's blowing out, but you didn't play here the first 10 weeks of the season when the weather was absolutely terrible.
Yep, cold, wind blowing in. Wrigley Field giveth and it taketh away.
Cave is behind 0-2. '60th pitch of the inning, or of the game, from Junior Guerra is a strike. He locates on the inside corner and picks up his 2nd strikeout of the inning, his 5th of the game.
You know, once you start getting into the head of the hitter and have him think off speed with the split, that fastball in, a very effective pitch, and he's able to dot the I on the inside corner. And he got the call. Splitter, fastball in, pretty good combination.
Bobby Wilson, first pitch fouled back, 96 miles per hour from Junior Guerra. And Bill, you talked about that earlier. The velocity has ticked back up for him and made a huge difference.
Yeah, from last year to this year. He went down to winter ball and worked on his mechanics. But the first year, you know, not this past winter, but the winter before. First year he hadn't pitched in winter ball. He had a lot of innings as a starter here with the Brewers. he found his mechanics, and everything started to come together for him again this spring.
And Craig Counsell has given him a longer leash. 0-1 to Wilson, taken upstairs. The last 2 starts for Guerra, 100+ pitches. The only 2 starts this season he has been able to surpass the century mark.
Not many guys get the luxury of passing that century mark these days. Not many.
I was watching a game yesterday. It was the only daytime game. It was up in Toronto. Here's the 1-1 to Wilson, fouled off the hands and back. Mike Fiers, 89 pitches, 8 innings. I believe it was 1 run, barely touched by the Blue Jays all day, and they went with their closer, who ended up blowing the save. They did win in extra innings, but it was one of those situations where Mike Fiers was throwing easy gas all game long, and the Tigers decided 8 was enough in 89 pitches.
Yeah, those are the kind of decisions. Now, you have your closer, and it's a save situation. I mean, that's kind of the way it goes, you know. And
that's the way the game is gone to.
Right. That's, you know, complete games are not a big deal. Of course, you know, you end up losing a game because of it.
Him making it to the 8th inning this day and age that's pretty impressive, because we've gotten used to seeing the whole 5 and dive now. We make jokes about that.
What I failed to mention was I was watching that game sitting next to John Smoltz, who was not pleased with the pitcher getting removed after 89 pitches, but he does appreciate a bullpen like this. The back end for Milwaukee, Jeffers, Hader, Knebel. You can make a strong all-star case for Jeffers and Hader so far this season, Bill.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, the Brewers are 41-1 when they have a lead after 7 innings. And after 6 innings, it's not too bad either.
Bat broken, and Aguilar will step on first, and the Twins cannot capitalize with a couple runners aboard. Bobby Wilson bounces out, and we have played 3.5 as we move to the bottom of the 4th inning. No score here from Miller Park. MLB Live on Facebook Watch. Scott Braun, LaTroy Hawkins, Bill Schroeder, Steven Nelson downstairs, and Paul Molitor about to join us on the broadcast. 15 seasons with the Milwaukee Brewers, a Hall of Famer, and as Brian Dozier said earlier, Mr. Wisconsin right now, still going strong. The Hall of Famer back here in Milwaukee, and also Craig Counsell is a mentor, or excuse me, reverse that, Paul a mentor for Craig, and we will get into that a little bit later on as well. But as we talk to Paul, get those questions in right now, and I'll mix in a few of them for the next couple minutes here on MLB Live on Facebook Watch. And some Brewers fans want to know about his Brewers days, so we'll definitely get to that as well. No score and 3 hits we've seen so far today, and there it is, the number 4, retired here in Milwaukee. And we're ready to go with Paul Molitor. Paul, we'll get a quick one in here. Fondest memory of Milwaukee, Nate wants to know.
Well, I had a lot of them, and I'm grateful for all of them. I'll have to say that the playoff game that got us into the World Series was probably my #1 highlight. Long time ago, but Cecil Cooper got a big hit to put us ahead late, and Rod Crew hit a 1-hopper to my good friend Robin Yount at short, and Milwaukee had a World Series for the first time since back in the 50s. So, yeah, a lot of great friendships, a lot of good memories, but that one stands out.
This one from Tony. What approach are you taking with Byron Buxton, who is now in the minors? Is there a timetable for him to return?
There's really not a timetable. I mean, we miss him around here. He's what you want him to be like as far as makeup and team first and just so many high-end qualities. We're trying to get his offensive game to a place where he can come up here and contribute. Hoping it's sooner than later, but we're going to have to see how he develops here over the next week to 2 weeks, and we'll see where we're at.
Thank you, Paul. Good luck in this one.
Okay, guys. Thanks.
Paul Molitor, 61 years old, AL Manager of the Year last year, and inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame back in 2000 for a first ballot Hall of Famer, and beloved in this city.
Yeah, no kidding. Still is. He and Robin.
First pitch, a bunt in the air from Jonathan Villar, and it goes way back.
One of the greatest things that ever happened to me in my life was to be able to play with Robin Yount and Paul Molitor at the same time for a few years, and just incredible stuff. This is the end of that playoff game against the Angels that they were talking about. Pete Ladd on the mound, Rollie Fingers was out, and you know, the bedlam at County Stadium.
That is incredible video. Can you imagine, LaTroy, if you were in that mess? What would you be doing? Darting through the dugout?
Throwing haymakers.
You have to be careful. What was that like? What is that like?
Yeah. It had to be kind of scary.
Right?
Man.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I mean, Milwaukee was just hungry as all get out for a postseason to get to the World Series. Still are, actually. It's been a while. 1982 against the St. Louis Cardinals. A lot of people think that the Brewers should have won that series had Rollie Fingers been healthy and ready to go. Of course, Pete Ladd didn't do a bad job in his stead.
Jonathan Villar down on strikes for a second time today. And Eric Kratz coming up next. The longest World Series droughts in Major League Baseball. 69 seasons for the Indians, 57 for Texas, and number 3 on this list, the Milwaukee Brewers in the last appearance, the one we're talking about, in 1982. You had the Astros with a 56 season streak. They had never won one as a franchise, and that slump, I guess you should call it, was finally snapped this past season with a World Series appearance and a World Series win.
And they have a pretty good chance of getting back, don't they?
Yes, they do.
It's something else.
They look stronger than ever.
Yeah, Yankees, Red Sox, Houston, I think they're a cut above everybody else in baseball.
Paul Molitor was my teammate also in Minnesota.
That's right.
Yep. It was 1997, I think.
What was he like?
He was old at the time. But I was with Molly when he got his 3,000 hit. I think it was a triple in Kansas City.
Yep, it was.
So maybe 96.
Yeah, such a competitor. I mean, you know, Molitor, Yount. I mean, those two names kind of, you know, define Brewers baseball over the years. Those two guys will always be known as, you know, two of the greatest, or probably the greatest Brewers. You see Uke up there, radio booth next to us.
Molitor and Yount, and we pinned this in the comments section for now from Dan. Yount is the most iconic. Molitor was the better pure hitter. Robin was the better pure baseball player. Plus, he finished his career there. Interesting take.
Mm-hmm. Pretty diplomatic.
Yes. Little compare and contrast for two legends.
And both of those guys were, you know, terrific leaders, but they weren't leaders by, you know, flapping their lips all the time. They led by example.
Who is the most iconic Milwaukee Brewer of all time? And you can still let us know in the comments section, but Robin Yount wins by a landslide.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hands down. I mean, the kid, he's the guy. I mean, no doubt about that.
You would think it's a little closer, 82%.
I thought Molitor was going to receive some more votes.
Well, they were one heck of a duo.
Yeah. 1-2 punch, first, second in the batting order. My goodness. And you throw Cecil Cooper up there back in those days. Ben Ogilvy, Ted Simmons, Gorman.
Coop was my manager in Houston in 2008.
That's right. Yeah, Coop.
Kepler puts away Kratz. 2 gone in the 4th. And now Keon Broxton. Well, the Milwaukee Brewers have been playing great home baseball lately. Last 34 home games, they are 23-11. First place ball club in the National League Central right now. 1 game up on the Chicago Cubs, 5.5 games better than the St. Louis Cardinals. Second best record in the National League for Craig Counsell's crew.
49 wins coming into play tonight or today. Tied for the most wins, but percentage points, they're, you know, behind the Atlanta Braves.
Braves beat the Yankees yesterday, but if the Brewers are victorious today, they would be the first team to 50 wins in the National League. Atlanta also at 49 wins, but they play later today. 1-1. Broxton to right field. Kepler. And that will sit down the side in order. Jake Odorizzi has retired 6 straight Milwaukee Brewers. 4 in the books at Miller Park. No score between the Twins and the Brewers. Let's go to Steven Nelson. We've been dying to hear the trivia answer, as I've seen some correct answers, but there are many that did not know. Steven, help us out, man.
Scott, you mean the Trivor question answer? By the way, people watching, if I'm ever on and I say something factually incorrect or I'm just generally terrible at my job, you can throw this hashtag in there. Nelson, can't spell my name without an L, so when I have to take one, I'll wear it. As for the trivia question, nailed it this time, we asked, who holds the record for most teams played for in a Major League Baseball career? We talked about LaTroy Hawkins, played for 11 in his 21 years. 2 guys played for 13. I asked the comment section to chime in, and we got many submissions. Prince Royal went Bartolo and Edwin Jackson, half right, Prince Royal. Q Warner went Dotel and Ejax, 11, 2/3 right. So then we moved to Sal Paracelli, Edwin Jackson, Octavio Dotel, 13 teams apiece. That is the 100% correct answer. Many people got in the comment section, as you alluded to, Scotty. And so if you forgot what Octavio Dotel looked like when he was in the majors, we got some footage for you from the archives, along with Edwin Jackson, who you saw pick up a victory in his debut with the Oakland Athletics last week. You guys were talking about it. But LaTroy, you had 11. These guys had 13. 3 more players played for 12 teams in their careers. So can you quickly conjure up those guys' names?
Steven, well, guess what? LaTroy Hawkins making a quick water/bathroom run. We'll get back to you. Save that question. Keep rolling for us on Edwin Jackson.
Edwin Jackson with his 8. Again, 13 teams for Dotel and Ejax. Absolutely outstanding work for them. But 3 more guys are tied for 3rd. Most teams played for. Do we want to wait for? We want to wait for LaTroy to chime in. Totally understood.
Yeah, let's wait.
I'm
here for you.
He's not there right now. Scotty, you'll like this story. So beforehand, playing Cash or Trash with Brian Dozier, correct? To get him warmed up, this one was left on the cutting room floor. I presented the take, who is sexier, or LaTroy Hawkins is sexier than Torrey Hunter, and Dozier, he trashed that take. So maybe don't tell LaTroy that one.
He just came back, so he missed the first half of what you said.
That's how we welcome him back.
Exactly. But ask that question that you posed earlier.
Okay, LaTroy, now that you're back, we revealed to the people and to you guys that it's Octavio Dotel and Edwin Jackson who hold the record for most teams played for with 13. There are 3 guys, however, who pitched for 12. Can you name them?
And real quick, we have a Jake Odorizzi bounce out. Travis Shaw puts him away, and there's 1 gone in the top of the 5th.
3 guys who pitched for 12 different teams.
Yes.
Octavio Dotel, Edwin Jackson.
No. Right, yeah.
They have 13.
They count. That's 12, though.
12. You have to have 12 on the dot.
12 on the dot. I got no clue. I'm sorry.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Okay, 1, when you're going to an upper level, you have to walk up the
stairs.
Matt Stairs.
Boom. 1.
I'm chiming in
right now. You guys are talking into a microphone. So that's the first name. That's a very common first name, but I'm trying to give you some hints.
I'm not good at this either. I'm thinking we're talking pitchers and we're talking about Matt Stairs.
3 more players. 3 more players.
Players. Okay, I'm thinking.
Who's Mike? Give us the Mike one.
Mike Morgan.
Mike Moman.
Mike Morgan.
Give me some. Moman. Pitcher.
Yeah. And then the last one, Ron Vallone.
Ron Vallone.
The big rig. He was a Brewer.
Wow.
I need to work on my 12-team trivia. The 13-team trivia, we were great. Thanks, Steven.
Bye, Steven.
That was good.
70 pitches from Junior Guerra, and this 0-2 to Joe Mauer. A wave and a miss, and a strikeout for Junior Guerra, the 6th of the afternoon for him. Most franchises played for in MLB history. This is what Steven was talking about. He did a lot of research for us before the game and came up with Dotel, Jackson, Morgan, Stairs, and Vallone. And LaTroy, you would be next with 11 teams tied for 6th all time.
I should have kept playing.
I know. 42 years old, that's it? That's all you had for us?
That's all I had.
It looks like it's still pitch.
My daughter's still upset that I retired. She's 16 now. Dad, why'd you retire? So I want to spend a little time with you before you graduate from high school. Jesus. Come on, young lady.
Yeah.
But she enjoyed coming to the ballpark, enjoyed watching. She loves baseball. But I told her, hey, I'm going to spend the next 3 years with you and make sure you get off to college, and that'll be it.
0-1 taken for a strike by Jorge Polanco. Good time to mention the last guest joining us on the field here on MLB Live on Facebook Watch before the end of the game is Brent Suter. He pitched yesterday, and he is quite a unique gentleman in so many different ways, both on the mound and off the field as well. Questions for Brent Suter, bring them right now. A great interview, a fun guy.
Great video.
Yes. Are you talking about the video that he put together with the Brewers video team?
Yeah, the Dumb and Dumber video.
We will show that before we talk to Brent.
That might get some people to ask some questions. Showing that. That was hilarious.
A+ acting skills from Brent Suter.
Jim Carrey actually weighed in.
Did he?
After that, yep, in his Twitter account. Was impressed.
There's Brent Suter. He'll be joining us very soon. 1-2 is coming up to Jorge Polanco, who had a double back in the first. Still no scoring in this game. Plenty of traffic on the base paths every inning.
He's got the splitter today, LaTroy. I mean, it's been a good pitch for him. It really has. It hasn't been. It's not the splitter that we saw a couple of years ago, but it's more like a changeup. It's not going down as much as it did in 2016.
Well, the one he threw to Mauer to strike him out in the first inning was outstanding. And that's a good one right there. The bottom fell out of it.
And Jorge Polanco will get to first base.
Another strikeout for Junior Guerra on the splitter.
That's his 7th of the game.
Yeah, those are the ones that you got to get down and block. That's very unusual for Eric Kratz. He tried to backhand it off the glove, and inning continues.
And a difficult portion of the order now, the toughest. Rosario followed by Escobar. Rosario walked back in the first. A pop-up to Shaw in the third. Shana said we really need Jorge Polanco to catch fire. He missed the first 80 games of the season.
Got to give him some time to get back in it. You just can't miss that much time and expect, you know, big production first, second day.
We got a few guys we need to catch fire. Dozier, Kepler, Sano, Buxton.
No Dozier in the lineup today. Paul Molitor said he's a bit banged up. Brian Dozier had the most home runs for a second baseman from 2014 through 2017. It's been a slow start to his 2018 campaign. 31 years old, will be a free agent after the year and could be a trade candidate. Two balls and no strikes to Eddie Rosario.
That split right there was for a ball, but it had the action that he's been looking for, and that's one of those two strikes, split fingers.
Yeah, this is more the Junior Guerra that we saw a couple of years ago. A lot of splitters. It's an unusual start for him because he has a pretty good feel for it, and he actually got it going about second or third inning.
2-0 in on the hands, and no one will get to it. Travis Shaw, the only man on the left side of the infield right now for Milwaukee, and he's playing pretty far over towards the second base bag as he starts to make his way back. The shift is on against Eddie Rosario.
He likes that ball up there, doesn't he? 92 up and in.
He does. He can get the bat head there really quick.
We saw him take a couple of hacks on pitches up there last night.
Remember yesterday in the top of the 3rd inning, he swung at strike 3. And I think on your broadcast, Bill, you guys said the pitch was at eye level, his eyes.
Literally. I mean, boy, talk about getting on top of a high fastball. Normally lefties like it down, but Rosario got good wood on that.
And he's done most of his damage against right-handed pitching. 2-2 on the way with the runner on the move.
But he's one of those left-hand hitters who doesn't back down the left-hand pitching. I mean, he stays in there. You shoot the ball to all fields off of left-hand pitching. And a lot of times you get lefty on lefty, that front hip starts to leak out just a little bit and taking some of their power away. He stays right in there. He's a tough cookie, man.
Nita saying, I'm loving these uniform changes for the holidays. Kudos to whoever came up with these. I'm with you. And that will drop into center field. The inning continues for the Twins. Eddie Rosario with a base hit.
Well, Twins trying to take advantage of a mistake by the Brewers. The wild pitch on the strikeout allows them to continue the inning. Should have been strike 3 for a final out, but Rosario able to get on top of another high pitch. This one away. He drives it out there in the center field.
So he got that front foot down. He just used his hands and flipped that ball out into center field to Keon Broxton.
And now Eduardo Escobar, major league leader in doubles with 34 of them, 3rd in the league in extra base hits. What a season for him so far. 49 runs batted in. A power surge that began last year and has rolled into this season. I spoke to him in spring training and said, where did all the power come from? It's one of my favorite answers of the year. He said, Fogo de Chao. He said, it's a steakhouse.
A Brazilian
I'm beefing
steakhouse.
up.
He eats at every Fogo de Chao in the cities they play in.
So that's true. He just didn't throw a one-liner at me, did he? Big swing there. It's 1-1. I thought he was kidding. He actually does load up on beef.
He loves Fogo de Chao. Fogo de Chao.
He is one of the funniest men in a major league clubhouse. His teammates love him.
He and Dozier have a very unique relationship. They're always ragging each other. They stay on each other. They're going back and forth all the time in good fashion.
It keeps everybody honest, right? I mean, sometimes you get to the big leagues, you're finding success, and it's up to veteran guys like Dozier to bring guys down to earth every now and again.
And
you never did that, did you?
Not at all. And Escobar has been all over Astudillo the last couple days.
Here's the doubles pace for Eduardo Escobar. On pace for 67, and the major league record is Earl Webb back in 1931, 67 doubles.
Yeah, look at those names. Goodness. Well, you throw yourself into names like that, although it's early.
And that's a tip.
None of those guys played after 1940.
Right, imagine that.
Isn't that amazing? We haven't seen anyone crack that list since.
Doubles.
Well, you know, they were seeing the same guy for 9 innings. I mean, now it's so specialized. You won't see the same pitcher 3 times in one game. If you do, the starter's having a great day. But every at bat, starting from the 5th inning, you're seeing a different pitcher, and I think that adds to the difficulty.
Junior Guerra up in the strike zone. A fastball that Eduardo Escobar can't connect on, and a strikeout, his 8th of the day. So we'll head to the bottom of the 5th. No score. Brent Suter about to join us. Get your questions in for him. You might want to ask him about this video he put together.
So, you guys headed out to the bullpen? My scooter died, and I'm late for a bullpen session.
We usually don't pick up hitchhikers. But I'm going to go with my instincts on this one. Saddle up, partner. You're it.
You're it.
You're it. Quitsies.
Anti-quitsies. You're it. Quitsies. No anti-quitsies, no starts.
You can't do that.
Can too.
Cannot. Stamped it.
Can too. Double stamped it. No erases.
Cannot. Triple stamped it. No erases. Touch blue. Make it.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Suter. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Suter. Suter.
Guys, enough. Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Guys! Fellas, you think we can listen to the radio or something?
Radio? Who needs a radio? Ready, JJ? Mock.
Yeah.
Ing.
Yeah.
Bird.
Yeah.
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 Mockingbird, don't everybody have you heard? She's gonna buy me a mockingbird. And if that mockingbird don't sing, she's gonna buy me a diamond ring. And if that diamond ring don't shine...
Hey, Suter, look, there's some people on the right, too.
Pick 'em up.
I mean, that was beautifully done. Brent Suter, Jeremy Jeffers, and Josh Hader. And Brent Suter joining us right now on MLB Live on Facebook Watch. Wow, that was excellent. We've shown it a couple times. Really well done. So actually, this is a perfect way to start out the questions in the comment section from Anthony. He said, as an Ivy League grad, what would you be doing if baseball didn't work out? And hey, I think acting career could have worked out.
I've never really had an ambition for acting per se, but I would love to do it if the opportunity presented itself. But I would probably be doing something in the environmental realm, like green energy, like environmental consulting, something like that.
We'll watch the bottom of the 5th inning together with Brent Suter, and it's Nate Orth. He is the pinch hitter. Guerra's day is done. So more questions coming in for Brent, and this one from Travis. He said, is the BP car comfortable?
It was pretty comfortable, yeah. Yeah, it was not a lot of space in there. The seats were comfy, so yeah, it was a lot of fun. And obviously, Hader, I don't know how he didn't break character or smile or anything like that, but he did a great job. And we just, it's really hard to parody comedies like that, but we somehow pulled it off.
How many takes?
About 3 takes per shot.
Wow.
Yeah. There were a bunch of different shots, though, but Hader never broke the whole time. It was just a matter of us getting like the quitsies, anti-quitsies, no startsies, all that. We messed that up a couple times, but besides that, it was good.
There's Junior Guerra. His day is done after 89 pitches, 5 innings, no runs allowed, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, and allowed just 2 hits, 56 pitches for strikes, as he held this Minnesota Twins team down. And we'll ask everyone in the comments section if you're a fan of being done with Junior Guerra for the rest of the day and going with Nate Orth. Well, there's ball 4. That might help answer your question. But Brent, what did you think of the work from Junior Guerra today?
He did what he's been doing all year, just absolutely getting guys out, mixing in his off-speed, attacking with the fastball. His fastball ride is really, really good. It starts like it'll be a ball, and then it just rides up, and it's at the knees all the time. And he's been doing a great job all year with that command. He's awesome.
This one from Franklin, and I love this question because I love the way you work. When did you develop your fast pitching style?
In college, mostly. In high school, I wasn't necessarily a slow worker, but in college, kind of our motto was work quick, throw strikes, attack the zone. So, yeah, that's probably when I most started doing it, and then it just kind of accentuated from there in pro ball.
So, a couple questions about your Harvard time. There's a little timeout here.
Yeah.
This one from Michael. Brett, what did you study at Harvard?
I studied environmental science and public policy, and did some pre-med, did my pre-med requirements, so it was a lot of science and math. Yeah, a lot of science and math.
And then Brent, from us here in the booth, how big are you into analytics based on your background?
I definitely
there's a place for it for sure, but I don't think it should be totally outweighed by the old school or like the person, like the human element of baseball, which is like the clubhouse and like the competitor mindset and all that. Analytics definitely has a place to help the game, though, for sure.
This from Joe, and I'll provide some context, a little background here. The nickname for Brent Suter, who's joining us right now on MLB Live on Facebook Watch, is Raptor. So Joe said, what is your favorite Jurassic Park movie?
I got to go with Jurassic World. I haven't seen the newest one, but Jurassic World was my favorite for sure. That was a really well done movie. Graphics were incredible. Acting was really, really good, and the storyline was good. So that was my favorite.
I think I know how you're going to answer this one from Johnny. He said, what's Brent's favorite big defensive play he's made this year? We were here last week on Wednesday, and you did a little tumble dive, and I don't remember if you touched the bag. Yeah, I think you touched the bag, or did you toss it over to first base? But a play made against the Kansas City Royals. So well done.
Thanks. Yeah, I actually extended and tagged Gordon before he got to first base. So that was probably my favorite. Definitely my most like energy sucking a little bit. That was knocked the wind out of me for a little bit there. But yeah, that was probably my favorite because just the double dive, I guess, was pretty tough.
Nate Orf, the pinch hitter, walks. He's at first, and this is now a 2-0 count coming up soon to Brad Miller. And also, if you want to see that play that Brent pulled off last week, you can go back to the recaps, and we also might sneak that in for you for a moment. But if you want to watch it over and over again, you can go back to the recaps on Facebook Watch. Here's the 2-0 to Miller, and that's in there for a strike from Odorizzi. But this is the play. We'll show it once, maybe twice. All right, take us through it, Brent. A little backhanded dive, the tumble, and just there in time. Although actually they called him out of the base path, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't know. It looked like Dump did this and then that, but I think I tagged him anyway. So it was one of those. It was like an in-betweener. I knew if Aguilar had to get to it, it would be a really tough play to beat him to the bag and get the throw from behind. So I reached down and got it and kind of had to fall over to regain or get my balance about me, and then realized he wasn't at the bag, so I just kind of had to react, and thank you. I had to react and go tag first base. I think it's some Red Bull or something Manny Pena delivered for him. Yeah, I think it's Red Bull.
Hey, Brent, when did you start using that cutter up in the strike zone so effectively? Is that a Derek Johnson thing, or is that something you've been doing for a while now?
It started probably in the higher levels of minor leagues, but I've definitely been going to it more and more in the big leagues with DJ and with Lee Tunnell, working together with those guys and our analytics staff, just kind of realizing it's where a lot of my weak contact and swings and misses come, so just got to go to my strengths.
Yeah, when you were growing up, did everybody tell you had to pitch down in the strike zone because you didn't pitch, you weren't a big velocity guy?
Yeah, for sure. Everyone was saying, you know, got to be down the zone, especially in the early levels of minor leagues, be down the zone, be down, and now it's kind of funny to hear everyone saying you got to be up, like occasionally go down, but then be up. So it's different, but it's you got to go with what works, I guess.
Hey, Suter, the Troy Hawkins here.
How's it going?
What other schools were you recruited by besides Harvard? And why did you pick Harvard?
To be honest, not many. I've had a couple Big Ten schools that were looking at me for a walk-on spot. And so, like Indiana, Penn State, I was looking at, and Xavier offered me late. But Harvard was by far the most interested, and I was the most interested in it. So it just kind of worked out. It was really kind of late in my senior fall, and everything just fell right into place. It was awesome.
Payoff pitch, strike three. Brad Miller goes after it, but Nate Orf does get to second base. A stolen bag for him, the first in his big league career. As we continue with Brent Suter right now. Keep those questions coming. Someone just asked, and this makes sense because you've done such a great job at the plate. Are you pro or anti-DH in the National League? I think I know which answer you're going to give us.
Personally, I'm anti-DH in the National League. I think it provides like a really cool strategy and different kind of play going in the National League as opposed to the American League. But again, we've had some key injuries last year with pitchers hitting or the last couple of years. So it's one of those things the training staff probably wants, and a lot of the management probably would want the DH instead. But just from a strategic standpoint, and I love to hit too, so I don't want to see it go anytime soon.
0-1 coming up to Eric Thames, and second base stands Nate Orf. Brent Suter in the dugout with us on MLB Live on Facebook Watch. This is always a good classic question we get almost every week. Jamie asks, I coach baseball. What's the best advice from a pitcher who wants to go pro?
So every day find something to get better at, I would say. Like have that routine going where you're staying, on top of your arm care, staying on top of your cardio and all that, but find a way every day to maybe mentally or physically get better at something.
Eric Thames with a home run.
Got a boy, you did.
Eric Thames going long.
That was awesome.
He muscles up for a 2-run shot, his 12th of the season. That left in a hurry, and it's 2-0 Milwaukee.
That was a maniac.
Getting the gauntlet with the headset, Brent.
Yeah, I don't know if can I get in there?
Might break it, right?
Here comes E10. Boom!
Attaboy.
Oh, man.
Well, now they're going to make him stay on for the rest of the half inning here as the rally is now officially on for Milwaukee. A 2-run home run for Eric Thames, number 12 on the season. And it is a 2-0 Milwaukee advantage on Jake Odorizzi. Pitch number 94 from him to Jesus Aguilar.
Hey, Brent, a little dangerous getting into the gauntlet. You don't go with your left arm with Thames coming down through, do you?
No, he and Aggie are danger zone when it comes to the gauntlet, so just kind of go with the right and let it hang out there. Hopefully keep it loose.
This is a question from Tyler. Who's the one person, and this is based off your parody video on Dumb and Dumber, who's the one person on the team who can make you laugh?
Wow. So Jet Bandy was our funniest guy before he got unfortunately sent down to the minors, but that's a really good question now. A lot of, Freddie Peralta, he always makes me laugh. He's very, very funny kid, very youthful energy. Love being around him for sure. Chase Anderson and I always give it back and forth to each other, so we're always laughing like that. So it's, a bunch of guys are really funny, but Jet for sure was the funniest of all.
There's a look at Peralta. Strikeout for Odorizzi. He fools Aguilar for the second time today. Now faces Travis Shaw, cleanup hitter for the Brewers. Their lead is 2-0 after the Eric Thames home run, ripped to right field, almost 109 miles per hour off the bat. And we'll continue with questions for Brent Suter right now on MLB Live on Facebook Watch. And Michael says, Brent, who is the best hitter you have faced in the major leagues?
Probably just as like a pure hitter and his approach to the game, Joey Votto's got to be up there. His knowledge of the strike zone and pitches he chooses to swing at and not swing at, and the damage he does when he does swing is really impressive. The person I've probably had the most trouble getting out has been Nolan Arenado. He's hit pretty much every pitch in every quadrant hard off me, including spring trade and all that. So he's been a difficult out for me, for sure.
Let's finish with this from Gregory. He said, here comes the 1-1. It's inside. Are you going to further your acting career after baseball? And I'll jump on top of that question and say, at the least, will we get another video from the Brewers this year?
I hope so. I hope something's in the works, but I haven't heard of anything yet. And like I said, if the opportunity presents itself, I'd love to do that. I love doing that stuff. It's really fun and fun to be around. So it definitely is something I look forward to doing if the opportunity presents itself.
This was awesome, Brent. Thank you so much for the time, and good luck the rest of the season. Pleasure talking to you.
Hey, Suter, tell your buddy, my neighbor, Chase Anderson, I said hello, okay?
Okay, we'll do it. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome. Brent Suter with us on MLB Live on Facebook Watch, and Travis Shaw facing a 2-2 count against Jake Odorizzi. This should be the last inning of work for Jake until we get to the Twins bullpen. Brewers up 2-0 thanks to the Eric Thames home run. And a full count to Travis Shaw. So next set of questions should be for Bill Schroeder, as he is going to leave us for a half inning and answer your questions in the comments section. So are your fingers prepared, Bill?
Oh,
ready
I'm ready.
to type?
I'm not a very good typer. I can only maybe hunt and peck about 2 or 3 of them.
We're in the same boat, brother.
Yeah.
Travis Shaw, base hit the other way. And he's going for 2, and he'll get there easily. It's bobbled in left field by Eddie Rosario.
And that's got to be an error. It looked like Shaw was content to stay at first base until he saw the second of the 3 bobbles out there.
Well, Rosario's had some issues, fielding the ground ball the last couple of days out there in the outfield, and picked up an error right there.
Good piece of hitting, though, by Travis Shaw. He's starting to come around. He had a sore wrist. The right wrist was a little bit sore for about a week. It's starting to come around a little bit, and he's starting to drive it much better.
Jake Odorizzi did face the Milwaukee Brewers back on May 20th. The pitching matchup was actually the same one as today. His former organization, and he went 5 1/3 last time, gave up 1 run, struck out a season high 10 batters. That was a 3-1 Twins win, the only win for the Twins in this season series so far.
His next pitch will be Odorizzi's 105th pitch. His last start, he threw 112 pitches.
Wow. So they've given him a long leash in his first ever appearance at Miller Park. 32nd overall pick back in 2009 by the Brewers. Traded away in the Zach Greinke deal, which Brewers fans remember very well. That trade worked out for both sides. Lorenzo Cain, Alcides Escobar, big parts of the Kansas City Royals championship club.
Yep, Jeremy Jeffers was in that trade.
Jerry said Thames getting back in gear. That was number 12 on the year. While we were talking to Brent Suter, Ryan Braun takes a pitch away. It's 1-1.
Braun's last at bat, he's punched out on some very good sliders, and then he elevated with a fastball up and in, and he started him off this at bat with another breaking ball.
Odorizzi has gotten the better of Braun the first 2 times up. This was the strikeout.
Well, it's all about pitch recognition, and you can see every one of these pitches basically out of the strike zone. Almost a carbon copy the first 2, and each time Odorizzi threw it, he threw it a little bit further off the plate. So it's pretty good pitching by Odorizzi.
I remember a time when Braun wouldn't swing at a pitch like that.
Right.
That year in 2011, I mean, he put us on his back, and he was just outstanding the second half of the season.
He has really quick hands, and as you get older, and Braun's got a lot of games under his belt, it slows down a little bit, and when your bat is getting a little bit slower, I mean, in general, I'm not just talking about 1 or 2 guys. I mean, you start that bat a little bit sooner to get to the fastball, and you become vulnerable. You become vulnerable to the off-speed stuff away.
No farther time.
Yeah.
2-2, shipped to left field, and there's Rosario.
So that slider was up, gave Bronny a chance to make some contact right there.
You want contact? That's loud off the bat of Eric Thames. Almost 109 miles per hour, and Brent Suter said, look out. We've got 2 on the board. And the end of the gauntlet. Our guest this past half inning. Brent Suter, careful which arm you're using there. Eric Thames bringing the muscle. His 12th home run of the season. And Bill Schroeder will talk to you about it right now if you'd like. In the comment section, anything you want to ask Bill Schroeder. 24 seasons commentating on Brewers broadcasts. And he can answer a variety of questions for you during this half inning. We want to take a trip back to memory lane for Minnesota Twins fans. Do you remember this from Jim Thome?
Thome steps in with 572 career home runs, 1 shy of former Twin Harmon Killebrew, who is in 10th place all time with 573. And he sends this one into the left field corner. There it is, number 573 for Jim Thome. And he is now tied with Harmon Killebrew for 10th place on the all-time home run list in Major League Baseball. Congratulations, Jim Thome. He drills this one and is now all alone in 10th place with 574.
Somewhere Harmon Killebrew is going, what happened? Jim Thome now passes Harmon Killebrew and is in 10th place by himself.
Hi, Harmon Killebrew here, and I just wanted to take time to congratulate Jim Thome on his career 574th home run.
Jim Thome in the 2018 Hall of Fame class, 612 home runs. It's coming very soon. We're at July 3rd, so 26 days away from the Hall of Fame induction ceremony on July 29th. What a list we have going in there this year. Chipper Jones, Vlad Guerrero, Thome, Hoffman, Jack Morris, and Alan Trammell. Those last two voted in by the Veterans Committee. LaTroy, this is going to be a fun ceremony to watch and to listen to coming up at the end of the month.
All well deserved for each and every one of those men right there. Had a chance to play against 4 out of the 6, and you know what? They're incredible competitors. Vladimir Guerrero, he couldn't throw a ball anywhere that he didn't like. He hit the ball, it was bouncing over his head. Just incredible. Trevor Hoffman, a teammate here with the Milwaukee Brewers, class act all the way around. Just an incredible individual.
Looking forward to that at the end of the month, July 29th, and that's Max Kepler against Josh Hader. Big weapon for the Milwaukee Brewers, brought into the game. Perhaps the best reliever in Major League Baseball right now. In fact, comment below. Best reliever in Major League Baseball. Let us know if Josh Hader is your selection. The strikeout numbers are off the charts, and he's sporting a 1.30 ERA. And the pitch is upstairs. It's 1-1 to Kepler. What do you think, LaTroy? Best reliever in the sport right now?
That's a great question. I would have to go with closer Kimbrel. Go with Chapman.
Those are good names.
Hader's been very good. I mean, 1.30 ERA, ranked 4th. Whip 0.77, Ks per 9 is 17.5. I mean, he's been outstanding this year, and he should get an all-star nod. But the ball, his arm angle, the slot where he releases it with his breaking ball, with his fastball, everything's coming out of that same little area, and he's really tough to pick up. And if the hitters don't pick it up until it's, you know, halfway to the plate, I mean, his ball explodes in the zone. It just gets there and does something different, and that's what makes him very, very tough. He's throwing elbows, everything at you, stepping behind the left-hand hitters, so everything's coming from behind them. I mean, he's a tough at-bat, no comfortable at-bats, and that's why he dominates left-hand hitters.
And left-handed batters have barely touched him so far this season. We last saw him on Friday. He pitched a scoreless inning. And that strikeout per 9 rate is the second best all time at the moment.
It's been a lot of pitchers. You just said all time.
All time. And that's why Kepler goes down.
There's only one good thing about the Twins facing him right now. They don't have to face him in the 8th inning.
He can do multiple innings, but usually not more than 2. So maybe the 6th and the 7th for Hader, although could be Jefferson Knebel, 8-9. That's a ground ball to the new shortstop, Nate Orff. He retires Astudillo, and there's 2 down. 7 pitches for Josh Hader thus far. It's a number to keep an eye on to see how long he'll go in this appearance. Milwaukee nursing a 2-0 lead thanks to the Eric Thames home run. Also a change in left field. Hernan Perez replacing Ryan Braun. Now Jake Cave. And Orff, who made the play at shortstop, worked a walk as a pinch hitter last inning, ended up scoring on the Thames home run. Orff making his major league debut yesterday. And he is one of the most popular players in the organization. We spoke to Craig Counsell about it. There's a chant. They go, Orff, Orff, Orff. I asked Craig, why do they love him so much? He said the combination of the fun last name and the fact that he would grind it out in the minor leagues for a long time. 28 years old, making his big league debut. Undrafted out of Baylor University. Also was a 5th-year senior, so Nate Orff ends up signing at 23 years old and put together fantastic numbers in the minor leagues as a hitter the past few seasons. He earned it.
He definitely, for sure, he earned it. Like you said, he signed as a 23-year-old, 5th-year senior. Is not going to get much money. Pretty much, they just wanted him. He just wanted to sign. But he's been in the organization for a few years now. And a lot of his teammates have come and passed him up How many guys does he know that have been called up to the big leagues, and he's finally got his call?
Josh Hader off to the races as he sits down Jake Cave. 2 strikeouts in the inning. That's a 10-pitch inning for Josh Hader. I bet you'll see him again in the 7th. It is time, and it is perfect time to bring back Bill Schroeder from the comments section as the sausage race is about to begin. Bill, you're going to have to help us out with this. Give us the tale of the tape.
Well, I'll tell you, it's been pretty easy, but I have found that the chorizo does pretty well in day games. When the weather warms up, the chorizo kind of steps it up a little bit.
Chorizo gives me heartburn.
Yeah. Yeah, chorizo, hot dog, the German, or the bratwurst, the Polish, and the Italian. There's the chorizo.
And for those that are unaware, this is a tradition here at the ballpark. Every game at this time, these 5 will duke it out, and sometimes, Bill, things get physical.
Yeah, they scrape paint every now and again. And we've seen some sausages go down.
Well, so far you're right. That's chorizo. Out in front, gaining separation.
It's a blowout.
And number 5 really did it with ease today.
Yeah.
Wow, that is excellent background work. Some good analytics there.
Yeah, well,
on the daytime success.
I've been around here a long time. You know, I've seen a lot of sausage races. You know, Doug Melvin, the former Brewers general manager, when he took over the reins here many years ago, he said that he was hoping to get his team to be as popular as the sausage race. Because back in the old days, a lot of folks left right after the sausage race.
Now you want to stick around. Brewers up 2-0. You'll see another inning probably from Josh Hader, who's one of the most exciting players to watch out of the bullpen. And if you have a question for our bullpen member, former pitcher LaTroy Hawkins, ask now, and he is going to take a break from the broadcast for a half inning and answer your questions in the comments section. So we'll see LaTroy and hear from LaTroy again in just a few minutes, or maybe more if the Brewers can string together a nice rally here. Jonathan Villar, Eric Kratz, and Keon Broxton do up this inning. And the new pitcher for the Minnesota Twins is Ryan Presley, 29 years old. A 3.86 ERA so far this season with big strikeout numbers. And Villar showed bunt. It's 0-1.
Yeah, tied for second in the American League with 42 appearances. He's been giving up a few runs lately, 4 earned runs in his last 8 1/3.
Sits mid-90s with the fastball.
Good inning by Josh Hader, huh? Craig Counsell typically likes to have Hader, pitch, multiple innings, pitch 2 innings, give him 2 days off, bring him back. He's had a few days off, before today's game.
Yeah, we haven't seen Hader since Friday, so well rested. So I'll ask this for everyone to answer in the comments section, but do you script it Hader 7, Jeffers 8, and Knebel 9? If Hader has, I don't know, a 7-pitch inning, can you throw him out there for a 3rd frame as Jonathan Villar goes down on strikes for the 3rd time today? Bill, could you see 3 innings from Josh Hader?
2+, maybe have him pitch 2 2/3, maybe 3+, who knows. But here's the thing about Hader and the way Counsell uses Josh Hader. I just told you, if he goes 2 innings, he's not going to pitch for 2 days, so I guess he can go 2 or 3 innings. But Jeremy Jeffress, Craig Counsell very conscious of, who's coming up.
Hey, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
And he will look at matchups to determine, when Hader is going to be coming in, when Jeffress is coming in. Just because Hader comes in his 6th, 7th doesn't mean you're not going to see Jeffress in the 8th. The Brewers have a number of guys that they're very comfortable with and leaving out there for multiple innings. Inning and 2/3, inning and a 3rd, maybe 2 innings, and Jeffress certainly one of them.
What a valuable weapon, someone like Hader and Jeffress as well. have been out of the bullpen for Craig Counsell so far this year. 29-year-old Ryan Presley out of Dallas, Texas, climbing the ladder, and Eric Kratz strikes out. Presley with big K numbers this year, and we're seeing that. Back-to-back strikeouts. And Keon Broxton coming up next.
And 10 punch-outs for the Minnesota Twins. That high fastball, the Brewers have had a difficult time laying off that pitch today.
Daniel said, did anyone see Kratz in his knuckleball the other day? Does he have a knuckleball?
Cincinnati. Wow. And the Brewers were losing. And kind of big, and he was throwing fastballs. And then he threw a knuckleball to get a strikeout.
We need more knuckleballs in the sport, Bill.
No doubt.
Who misses the knuckleball? Let us know.
Catchers don't.
That's right. I did a game with JP Arancibia recently, who said, I can catch R.A. Dickey. And then after one time he said, I can't catch R.A. Dickey.
You know what Bob Uecker said about knuckleballs, right?
What?
The best way to catch a knuckleball is to pick it up when it stops rolling. All right, buddy, Ueck.
Classic. Keon Broxton walked back in the second inning. And there's Bob Uecker, 50+ years in baseball. A legend in the broadcast booth.
When you talk about, what you consider, guys that you mention their name, and it right away brings you to, definition of Brewers baseball. Molitor, Yount, Uecker, Bud Selig in that mix.
Here's the 1-2 from Presley. So Keon Broxton is trying to get over some strikeout issues. 36% clip down in the minor leagues. A little less swing and miss, and he could be a really valuable player in Major League Baseball.
And that's that consistency that we were talking about earlier in the game. I mean, just trying to put the bat on the baseball with 2 strikes, because with his speed, just put it in play and run.
Unfortunately, there it is again. A strikeout for Presley. He fans the side. Keon Broxton, though, is a fun player to watch in the game. Ryan Presley put on a show just now on the mound. VR. This is Kratz going up. And Broxton thinking about it. Quick work from Ryan Presley, and the Minnesota Twins have their work cut out for them. They're down by 2 runs, but they are facing one of the best bullpens in Major League Baseball. In fact, they had the best bullpen ERA through the month of May. It's tailed off just a bit in June. Now we enter July, still a top 5 bullpen ERA-wise in the sport. And it's led by Josh Hader, the left-hander, who will pitch again here. It is inning number 7 at Miller Park. Scott Braun, Bill Schroeder, and LaTroy Hawkins about to join us again soon. And Brian Dozier might make a pinch-hitting appearance. So, Bill, I'll give you a question, and you can go wherever you want to go with this one. Give me your favorite bullpen trio of all time.
No, I'm thinking about the Houston Astros. Back in the early 2000s, you had Wagner, you had Lidge. I think Dotel was in that mix, if I'm not mistaken, with Troy. The Nasty Boys with the Reds.
That's a great group.
Norm Charlton, Dibble, Myers.
I don't think Dotel was in that group.
No. Who was it? There was a third at that Houston Astros back end of the bullpen.
Well, this is the Nasty Boys first. Scary work from this Cincinnati Reds group. What about the 1990s A's?
Yeah,
Dennis Eckersley.
Back in my day, Dennis Eckersley, some kind of closer and sidearm action. That's back in the days, LaTroy, when there were 5 guys in bullpens.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you remember those days? Did you have any years for those days?
Not at all. That was long gone by the time I got up to the big leagues in '95.
I have a good one. The 1998 Yankees, Nelson and Wetland and Rivera.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was no joke.
That shortens the game quite a bit. You don't have a lead in 6 innings. Good luck.
So Bobby Wilson, 8-9-1 due up for the Twins. After Wilson, Brian Dozier will pinch hit, and then back to the top of the order, and Joe Mauer. 10-pitch inning for Josh Hader in the 6th. Strikeout, ground ball out, and another strikeout. Josh Hader has made 12 appearances this season, have at least 2 innings of work. The question for fans, and it's based on pitch count, do you ride Josh Hader for another inning after this if he's successful? Or do you go Jeffers, Knebel to finish off the day?
I don't know. Why would you throw him out there for a 3rd inning?
You wouldn't.
You have, right. Just you wouldn't do it. Your bullpen's good enough. I mean, probably don't give him a chance to finish this one.
And you have guys that need work. Jeffers hasn't pitched since Friday.
Oh, man. Must be nice.
Well rested. Wilson pulls a roller to 3rd. And there's one away. 4 up, 4 down for Hader so far.
Yep, 4th in all the baseball, 2nd in the National League. Only the bullpen, with the Cubs is better, than what the Brewers bullpen has been able to do. Brewers bullpen has a 3.07 earned run average. I was going to say it's actually the Arizona Diamondbacks 2.49 bullpen ERA. Not too bad, huh, Troy?
You won a lot of ball games with
yes,
that, right?
Yes, you do.
Archie Bradley, a Josh Hader-like weapon for the Diamondbacks. Yoshi Hirano, an offseason signing.
Cubs are actually right behind the Brewers, so they're right in the mix.
Cubs made some moves in the offseason to help their bullpen. Brandon Morrow and Steve Cishek. C.J. Edwards has been good when he's been healthy.
It's a bullpen game these days.
You can't have too much of it.
That's who made all the money in the offseason. Relievers, even middle relievers.
They sure did early on, too. They got their money and got up out of there.
31-year-old Brian Dozier. Moya warming up, just called up today. Zach Littell optioned out by Minnesota.
95 miles an hour fastball right there in on the hands.
Yeah, I mean, he's not only, he got, pretty good velocity, but we're not talking about 98, 99. I mean, when you look at his numbers, you think this guy must throw near 100 miles an hour. But, it's the deception of his delivery. He puts the baseball pretty much where he wants it. He's starting to throw a slider more regularly.
It's not how hard you throw it, it's where you throw it, and you can make that 95 look like 100.
That's right.
See what Hader unleashes with the 1-2 to Dozier. It's in the air. Aguilar called off. Jonathan Villar has the 2nd out.
I was talking to Manny Pena, the Brewers catcher. He's not catching today, but he catches most of the time. And I asked him about Hader and the fastball, and he said first couple times he caught him, he didn't pick up the baseball. This is in the bullpen in spring training. He said the first couple times he caught him, he didn't pick up the baseball until it was halfway to home plate. He hides it really well. He kind of spins his body around, slings it kind of high 3/4.
And that's why you see a lot of swing and misses on this guy, because he hides the ball extremely well.
So now Joe Mauer.
So I guess the point is, if you're your catcher who knows what's coming, can't really pick it up all that well. Imagine if you're a hitter, not knowing what's coming, slider, fastball. That makes it tough.
All those things work in Hader's favor.
And that's past Hader, but Villar is there. 6 up and 6 down for Josh Hader. He gets the ground ball out, 3 of them in this inning. And we'll see if he comes out again for the 8th, or if they go with Jeffers and Knebel. Let us know what you think. In the meantime, let's play my favorite game. First time for Bill and LaTroy as we welcome you inside the broadcast booth. Scott Braun, LaTroy Hawkins, Bill Schroeder. Are you ready to play Like It or Leave It? Do you need to know the rules? I can remind you.
Thumbs up, nice.
That's it. Thumbs up if you like it.
Okay.
Thumbs down if you want to leave it, just like we do on Facebook. You give it a like if you're a fan of the question. Otherwise, burp. And if you're really getting aggressive, you can go 2 thumbs up or 2 thumbs down.
If you really
you're
like
really
it,
excited.
or really don't like it.
Yeah,
I got
we'll
it.
save that though. Let's start. Question number 1. The National League Central is baseball's most exciting division. I'll go NL West.
I don't know. I think that there's a lot of good divisions out there. I think
Bill,
that
I need to see a thumb up or
thumbs
down.
up, the thumb down. You know what?
No. Pick a side. Pick a side.
No, I have to.
I like that right there.
Yeah,
I like that.
I've got
Medium?
No, not most exciting.
You went down. All right, what's next? National League West, by the way, I think is pretty exciting. AL postseason picture will not change from now until October. I like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yep.
Yankees, Red Sox, Mariners, Indians, and Astros. Eduardo Escobar will break the MLB single-season record for doubles. That's just really tough to pull off, and that list is dominated by people playing in the 20s and 30s.
Nobody playing in the 40s.
And last but not least, let's finish strong here. The Brewers should be in on the Machado sweepstakes.
Well, for a rental or for signing him?
For right now, for a rental,
Yeah,
for the rest of the season.
No.
And you know
too much. It's going to cost too much. I don't think David Stearns is into that.
Okay.
No.
Do you remember, though, J.D. Martinez last year and the impact he made for the Diamondbacks? And the Diamondbacks definitely had to give up prospects to the Tigers, but they weren't elite names. They weren't top-level prospects. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, but that guy's I mean, he's not that good on defense, but he can really hit, Martinez. But we're talking Machado. He can do everything.
Yeah.
Third base, shortstop. I mean, can hit.
Yeah.
I mean, people talk about Bryce Harper, and I mean, he plays right field. I like Bryce Harper, but I'm a Machado fan because he's playing in the infield.
But the problem is, I mean, yes, you'd love to have him, but it's going to cost you a lot to
Too
get
much.
him.
Too much.
Okay, well, comment below, fans.
Or you trade for him and then just sign a big check so you can keep him.
And isn't that a good way to recruit, is to bring a player on for the last couple months, make a playoff run, and show him how sweet it is to be there? Would that do anything for you?
Whoa, I'm not nowhere near in the same ballpark as Machado. I mean, he's going to get record money. He's going to surpass.
I mean, there are teams that
Giancarlo Stanton
aren't going to be able to afford that.
Yeah.
It's like when the Brewers picked up CC Sabathia, in 2008 or 2008.
He was a rock star in this city, Bill.
You'd love to have CC Sabathia for another 5-6 years, but it just costs too much. It went to the Yankees, $200+ million contract.
And then re-upped.
Right.
2008 wild card for the Milwaukee Brewers. CC Sabathia, one of the best trade deadline acquisitions ever. It wasn't at the deadline. That's a called strike 3. Moya gets Nate Orf looking and back to the dugout. Gabriel Moya just called up today.
Good pitch right on the edge.
Southpaw.
He missed his spot right there, but he was able to still keep it in the zone and get the punch out looking.
Do you call that a good miss?
Every miss that you get back is a good miss.
We've seen 4 consecutive strikeouts from Twins pitching. Presley struck out the side. Now we go back to the top of the order. Brad Miller, or make that Hernan Perez.
So far from Chicago to here has been a tale of two cities for the Minnesota Twin pitching staff. And that's usually how it works. There's always a couple series like that during the course of a season, Bill, that you're just gonna, the hitter's just gonna punch you in the face.
You're just not going to have your good stuff, right? I mean, and there's going to be times that your starting pitching is going to do maybe 1 or 2 runs through the rotation where they just don't have it, and it's a grind, but then they snap out of it. They're big leaguers.
Fly ball to center, and that's Kepler.
And that's where the Brewers were early in the season. I mean, their starting rotation was, very inconsistent. They weren't eating up innings. The concern was that the bullpen was going to get overworked. Great counsel David Stearns was able to manage the roster, sending guys up and down, back end of bullpen guys. The first guys out of the chute early in games, but the starters started to come around, and pitching into the 6th inning and sometimes into the 7th inning, and things kind of work out. I mean, bad stretches and good stretches don't last forever.
Right. Just make sure you have more good stretches than bad.
Minimize the bad and
extend the long.
Right.
Here's Eric Thames, the difference maker in the ball game. 2-run home run back in the bottom of the 5th, his 12th of the season. He's still feeling good coming off a weekend series against the Cincinnati Reds. He is a bad man when he is facing the Reds in his career.
Unbelievable. 13 homers in less than 2 years.
That's the most impressive part, how quickly he's done it.
Right.
How do you pitch to him if you're Cincinnati? In almost any spot. He's Barry Bonds-like against Cincinnati.
Hey, when hitters are going good, I mean, you can pitch them anywhere. They're going to get their hits. They're seeing the baseball. They're staying back. They're recognizing ball strike. And good hitters will tell you that when they're in that groove and they're real confident staying back, ball looks like a softball coming up there. So, and on the flip side of that, when guys aren't swinging the bat well, it doesn't matter what you throw, you're going to get them out.
You can put it on the tee, they're going to miss it or hit it right at someone.
Yeah, whether it's little league or big leagues, that's just the way it goes. But the difference in big leaguers, minor leaguers a lot of times, and those bad stretches, you try and minimize it. They don't last as long.
Two from Moya. Full count for Thames.
The thing about Thames is he goes to the opposite field very well. So if you're saying, pitch him away, that's not the case. I mean, when he's seeing the baseball, he's driving home runs to right left field.
Moya has a very good slider. He showed right there.
There it is.
Punch out.
Second strikeout from Moya. He sits down the Brewers in order. So we played 7. Milwaukee with a 2-0 lead thanks to the Eric Thames 2-run home run. The 2018 Camping World MLB All-Star Ballot ends July 5th. That's a couple days away. You can vote for your favorite players at MLB.com/vote. Catch all the excitement of the 89th MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 17th, live on Fox and ESPN Radio. It's baseball's 2 biggest events of the summer, and they're back-to-back. The action begins at the T-Mobile Home Run Derby on ESPN July 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then catch baseball's biggest stars at the 89th MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 17th on Fox. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern from our nation's capital. Some surprise standouts posted on MLB's Instagram page. I spy a Milwaukee Brewer, me and Josh Hader, and some other names that you really didn't expect to be candidates to be at the All-Star Game. Pick a name for us. I'll pick one out. Matt Kemp.
Yeah.
I did not think Matt Kemp was going to be at the All-Star Game, and he probably will be there if holding holds true. He should. You're right.
He should be.
He had a big game yesterday, right? 5 hits?
5 for 5 yesterday from Matt Kemp. And some surprise standouts in the National League. There's Jesus Aguilar. He deserves to be there, Bill.
Yeah, Aguilar, I mean, he's been unbelievable. I'm not sure if he's going to make the All-Star team. He certainly should, based on how he's been able to get it done. I mean, all those numbers right there, all coming after April 18th or 19th. He didn't get a whole lot of playing time up until that point. Then Thames got hurt. He started to play every day about the end of April, and it all started to happen for him.
There's a twin, Eddie Rosario, quietly with a .312 average, 18 home runs, and an OPS north of 900 on the year.
His body of work, he should get in. He should be the Twins representative for the All-Star Game.
So aside from anyone on the Twins who's been the most surprising standout in Major League Baseball this season, we asked this question in the Twins fan group, and the answer, Matt Kemp, 39% over Nicholas Castellanos at 32%. Third best was other, and Miles Michaelis on that list as well. And Blake Snell at the bottom. Blake Snell should be an all-star, top 10 ERA in Major League Baseball.
Mike.
Mike who?
Check. Mike Check, 1-2.
What did you say? Miles Michaelis?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not an easy name to pull off. I practiced all winter on that one with Troy.
I actually talked to him on the phone. It's trying to get him to come to Minnesota and play this year, and I actually talked to him on the phone. I drew a blank trying to say his name.
Well, lucky for you, well, maybe not, but he's not here. That's Jorge Polanco with a pop-up.
That was a good recovery. Mike check. I like that. That was awesome.
I said, where's he going with this?
Well, I mean, we all go through those. I mean, you get a little brain thing going. You can't think of a name. And you're kind of just stuck. So I'm going to go Mike check next time.
Mike check, 1-2, 1-2. But Matt Kemp, he should definitely be an all-star. He should win comeback player of the year. I mean, the work he's done, in outfield, hitting, he's got back in shape. He looks outstanding this year. I mean, he's doing everything. He's starting to trend in the right direction. He was a superstar. Can't say he fell off a couple of years, but he still put in some work. But now he's doing everything again. He's moving well in the outfield. He's running around the bases. He's not swinging a lot of stuff in the dirt. He's hitting the ball on the screws.
Yeah, and I think a couple of years ago, everybody thought that his best days were behind him.
Rosario, hard hit ball to left field, but out there is Perez for the second out. Some loud contact off the bat from Rosario, but 2 down quickly here in the 8th. And for those of you that said Josh Hader should pitch yet another frame, you are correct. Here he is in the 8th inning.
Yeah,
22 pitches after those 2 innings. And Bill, here he is with 5 pitches and 2 outs in the 8th.
And the reason being, Craig Counsell knows that if I get 2 out of him, I'm not going to use him for two days. So get 3 out of him. As long as the pitch count's not too high. When he starts getting around 40 pitches, I think that that's a little bit too much. But
he's done a great job throwing strikes and not throwing a lot of pitches, not getting in deep counts. And that's only his 28th pitch, and he's almost through his 3rd inning.
Which would be a season high. Previous season high we just showed you, which he just matched it. April 30th against Cincinnati, he went 2 2/3. Eduardo Escobar takes one towards his laces. And it's 1-1. 3 times last year, Josh Hader made a 3-inning appearance. 2 times in July and once in August.
And you get Polanco from the right side. Get Rosario have to face the lefty, a very good lefty, and you put Escobar back on his right side, so it kind of makes a lot of sense. They're definitely better hitters from the left side.
Yeah, get through this inning, then you bring the closer, Corey Knebel, getting loose now, just in case Hader gets into trouble.
30 pitches deep. Escobar has struck out 2 times today. He walked in his first trip to the plate. And there's Knebel, an all-star last year. Ball 4 to Escobar. Here comes pitching coach Derek Johnson. Is this to buy some time for Knebel?
Yeah, this is, well, it's be a last hitter. I mean, he's going to face the lefty.
Astudillo would bat after Kepler. Counsell just getting off the phone.
You're walking that guy, and if he can get Kepler right here, he just put the closer in a position to face, what, 6, 7, 8? That's what a good setup man does.
Yeah. Does the heavy lifting, right?
Yes, all the time.
That's what you used to do.
Sometimes.
Back in 11, 2011.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You guys made things easy on Axford a lot.
Saito and K-Rod.
Well, tying run at the plate, and it is worth asking the question in the comment section. What would you do with Josh Hader here?
He's going to face the lefty.
It makes sense, but throwing it out there.
And Kepler's hit lefties very good this year.
That's why. So he's hit lefties well, but Josh Hader owns left-handed batters. Who usually has that advantage then?
Being a pitcher, I like to say the pitcher has the advantage.
Yeah, Kepler hitting 288 against lefties.
Last year, I think he hit a $188 against lefties.
It's pretty good.
He's hitting higher against lefties this year than he is righties.
It's been the biggest improvement in his offensive game this year. 2 quick strikes from Josh Hader.
Tell the hitters they're just not picking up the ball off of Hader.
No, especially, it gets even more difficult with the shadows.
Right, because he's in the sun and the hitter's in the shade. To add to already how difficult it is to see the ball off of him.
.35 pitches from Josh Hader.
That ball would have went in the visitor's TV booth.
That could have been you.
You think Dick Bremer would have caught it? They've been under the table?
Nah.
I caught one once.
Really?
College baseball. University of Miami against Virginia Tech.
Baseball
went right into the booth. I called it into my lap. It was more of a trap.
It was a body catch?
It was
I don't
a trap.
like that.
In the air, and that's Keon Broxton. He runs everything down in center field. So Josh Hader leaves Eduardo Escobar at first. Otherwise, nobody touched him. 3 innings from Hader, a season high, and a brilliant performance from a surefire all-star for Milwaukee. We'll probably see Corey Knebel in the next inning, but first the Brewers will bat in the bottom of the 8th, and first we'll get to the legend in the broadcast booth here in Milwaukee and the work that he has done for such a long time.
And once these fans recognize me, I probably won't even have to pay for my light here from Miller. Down it! I love him.
Rick Vaughn gets the starting call today. We're told he matured a lot over the winter. Apparently he's bathing now. I heard that. Dynamite drop-in, Monty. That broadcast school has really paid off.
The Brewers have won the American League pennant!
I still, and this is not sour grapes by any means, still think I should have gone in as a player.
Hey, everybody, I must be in the front row. I'm kidding. I'm very clearly not in the front row. I'm in the cheap seats, a.k.a. the euchre seats here at Miller Park, section 422, terrace level, and they only cost $1, and you're going to see why. They have an obstructed view here at Miller Park, but they harken back, they call back to the famous commercials of way back in the day with Bob Uecker and the likes of John Madden, Mickey Mantle, Billy Martin, Joe Frazier, where he said, hey, I must be in the front row. But these have always been known as the euchre seats. The statue has only been here for a few years, and they ask when people come up to take pictures or selfies with Bob that they make a donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So they have that here for the fans as well to commemorate and honor this legendary, this Hall of Fame, this Mr. Baseball broadcaster, Bob Uecker. And the stories he has, if you get a chance to meet him, he'll bust your chops, and it feels great even when he does that. So my question for you guys, Scotty, LaTroy, and Rock, and the people in the comments section, do you have a favorite Bob Uecker call, a favorite Bob Uecker memory? Share it with us here on MLB Live on Facebook Watch.
Awesome. Thank you, Steven. Well, Bill?
Well, it had to be the playoff game that, or actually, no, it wasn't that. It was Robin Yount's 3,000th hit against Jose Mesa at Old County Stadium. Now, the thing is that back in those days, he would do first, second, and then the second guy would do third, fourth inning, and the 7th inning. So every time Uecker batted, when he was at 2.999, he would get on the microphone and call the at-bat because he wanted, to call Robin's 3,000th hit. He did it, and it was a memorable call. So that's my favorite Bob Uecker call of all time.
0-2 to Jesus Aguilar, 3, 4, and 5 in the order.
The other one was the Easter Sunday home run by Rob Deere that tied the game. That was our 12th consecutive win to start the '87 season, and that's kind of brings chills to me when I still hear him call that home run.
What about the fictitious just a bit outside, like that one?
But one of the great pleasures that I've had as a broadcaster here in Milwaukee for 24 years, and I know you obviously when I played here, as a player, for 6+ seasons, he's been a great inspiration to all of us broadcasters, just by his commitment to the game, his passion for the game. He loves the Milwaukee Brewers. He loves baseball, and he's never ever rips a play.
No, and he makes everyone feel like they're at home. I've met him a couple times and feel like I know him forever. And that's how you feel when you come to Miller Park in general. So much so that you just figure this thing's your playground. Steven Nelson earlier today taking advantage of that.
My first time meeting him, Old County Stadium, when I was a starter, the Minnesota Twins. And just the first time he said something to me and listened to his voice.
Yeah. Check this out. So they're very friendly here at Miller Park. Steven Nelson going down Bernie the Brewers slide.
With the pop-up slide, I like it.
Yeah, that was good. That was smooth.
Have you ever gone down the slide?
No.
Uh-oh, here comes our cameraman. We'll get back to that in a moment.
It's an expensive camera guy.
Yeah, we'll wait till you see his landing.
Uh-oh.
After this 1-1 pitch from Moya coming up to Travis Shaw, who had a base hit back in the 5th. And Shaw right into the glove of Eduardo Escobar for out number 2. Listen to this.
Hey!
Not quite as smooth.
No, better than me than the camera, though.
That's right.
In the wall.
He forgot that he needed to pop up.
The camera is okay. No 10-day DL.
But he has to go into concussion protocol.
That was a tough hit. That looks like fun. I'd love to do that.
Never done it. I was here for 2 years. Never even crossed my mind to go up there and do it.
I went up the stairs. I was standing at the top. I looked down and chickened out. And I took the walk of shame and went back down the stairwell.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like heights.
It is high up, out there in left field.
Our bullpen used to come out here early when I was here in 10 and 11, and we would play. We would pick spots in the stadium where we have to run to, and Axford did it one day, and we had to run all the way to the top, and we had to take a certain route to get there. We had all kind of games we used to play to get our conditioning in.
The bullpen Olympics.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Trevor Hoffman started that here.
Yes, Hoffy.
A ball and 2 strikes to Eric Sogard. His first at-bat of the day. Brewers looking for some insurance. Trying to ride the 2-run home run from Eric Thames all the way to victory. They play one more tomorrow against Minnesota, the July 4th game. Jose Barrios with his mid-3s ERA matching up against Chase Anderson. And a 1-2 is a called strike 3. So Moya again sits down the side in order. Great work from the Brewers bullpen, Presley and Moya. It is 2-0 after 8. The Twins return home on Thursday. That's July 5th. They'll begin an 11-game homestand against the Orioles, then the Royals and the Rays. Get your tickets at twinsbaseball.com to see Rosario, Escobar, and Mauer at Target Field. For the Brewers, their homestand continues tomorrow, like I mentioned, last game of the series with Minnesota. Then they welcome the Atlanta Braves to town on Thursday for a 4-game set. And for Brewers tickets, you can go to brewers.com to see Aguilar and company over at Miller Park. MLB Live on Facebook Watch. Heading to the 9th. And this was my trip to the ballpark today. My story on Instagram. So let's begin with the ride over. The highway's right on top of the ballpark, too, Bill. Just get a good glance of Miller Park.
Easy in, easy out.
And then you swipe up to get to the link, which is right here. Craig Counsell selfie, which is his preference. And we go with the more conventional picture with Paul Molitor, the Hall of Fame manager. And this will continue on Instagram after we're done on MLB Live on Facebook Watch. If you head over to IG right now, type @ScottBraun, SCOTTBRAUN. LaTroy, Bill, and myself will join you. LaTroy is following me at the moment.
Wow.
We'll talk about that postgame, LaTroy.
That's quite
He's
the
looking
picture,
at my page
Scott.
right now.
Wow.
We'll talk about that postgame.
Did you actually put that on there or somebody do it?
We'll talk about it postgame. I'll give you an answer later. If you head over to the page right now and you follow the account, I will go live when we have 2 outs in the 9th inning here. We'll be live in the broadcast booth so you can get a look into how we call a game here in the broadcast booth. We will do our post-game interview, and then any questions that we didn't get to in the comments section, we will address as many of them as possible on Instagram Live. So @ScottBraun, you follow it, and then you click the live button when I go live in about 5 minutes. So let's do the top of the 9th and Corey Knebel, 2017 All-Star closer.
Yeah, pitched yesterday and earned a win in that ball game. The Brewers ended up scoring a run in the bottom of the 10th inning. Inning of work, couple of strikeouts. He's got the bottom half of the Twins order to deal with here.
And defensive changes for this group to get stronger includes Hernan Perez replacing Eric Thames in right field. He moves from left to right. And the new left fielder is Christian Yelich.
That's good news.
Assurance for Brewers fans that he won't hit the disabled list. Craig Counsell said pinpoint Thursday as the day for Yelich to appear again. A workout yesterday went very well for him. Robbie Grossman with a grand slam in yesterday's game. And Knebel fires his first strike. Back in the 5th inning yesterday, a 2-out grand slam to left center field, the first of Grossman's career. Is a fastball up and out over the plate. This from Mark LaTroy, best reliever in baseball, all-time favorite. He says hello.
So Mark, I said thank you and hello, buddy.
Corey Knebel up in the strike zone. It's 1-2. Strike 3.
Right on the edge on the outside corner. And Marty Foster rung it up. Grossman thought it was away. A little too close to take with 2 strikes. Yep, 96. Knebel with the fastball, 4-seam fastball and a big curve. His 2 pitches.
So Knebel painting and now facing Jake Cave. Trying to avoid the golden sombrero. Breaking ball drops in for a strike.
Just want to say hello to my cousin DeLawrence Williams. He's deployed overseas in the United States military, and
good for him.
Saying hi to him and all of our Americans that are deployed around the country.
Are they watching?
Yes, he's watching. He said he was about to go to bed because he has formation at 5 a.m.
Thank you for your service on this Memorial Day. Couple of days. Tomorrow's Memorial. I should say 4th of July. I'm sorry.
Thank you to those watching overseas. We appreciate it. We'd love to have you on today. A ball and 2 strikes to Jake Cave. We've seen a lot of that mixed into the uniforms this series. Stars and stripes, red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Brewers do Independence Day right here at Miller Park. And there is Corey Knebel with strike 3.
He did call it. He didn't call it, but he did call it.
Where was the call from Marty Foster? Give me some authority.
He did call it. Did he call it?
I mean, that was definitely in the strike zone.
Boy,
Jim Cave said, where's the call?
Did you see a call here? I don't see a call.
None whatsoever. I guess he was saying to himself, you know that was a strike. Go sit down.
Oh, everybody knew it was a strike, but he didn't make a strike call.
It's true.
He's walking back. Cave is walking back, and now he realized he didn't make a call, and now he does.
Maybe he thought he said it.
Clearly in the strike zone.
I don't think I've seen that before.
Well, how about yesterday with the foul tip? There wasn't a foul tip. See some interesting things these days.
Well, that is strike 3. Confirmed. And this is Logan Morrison, the pinch hitter. And that misses inside, according to Marty Foster.
So now every time, is that a ball or a strike, Marty? What you got? Tomorrow we have the man, the myth, the legend, Joe West behind the plate.
That's right. He shines in those moments. July 4th. This place will be packed like it is today. And a strike from Knebel. So the Brewers with a 2-0 lead. Some fans watching on MLB Live on Facebook Watch, maybe taking some photos. And also, we're anticipating Eric Thames to join us as soon as the game finishes up here. That 2-run home run holding up for now. That came in the bottom of the 5th inning. The only damage done. So questions for Eric Thames, let us know right now in the comments section. If you want to know about anything that he did in today's game.
Well, can ever like to finish it off right here. You got a home run hitter on deck.
That's right. Brian Dozier waits next. And a breaking ball from Knebel. He is working the edges.
That was a 2-1 breaking ball right there. You got a lot of confidence in that breaking ball to throw it in a 2-1 count in the 9th inning. Just a good pitch right there.
Nothing in the middle of the plate right now from Corey Knebel. We'll see what he dials up with the 2-2. Command has been on point.
Another breaking ball down in the
check swing. Logan Morrison did not go around.
Thought he was going to go with another breaking ball in the dirt right there.
Well, he doesn't want to walk him, so you're probably going to see a fastball here. The last thing you want to do is walk the tying run of the plate.
Just 2 hits given up by Milwaukee pitching today. That would match a season low.
Looks like he's going to go with the breaking ball.
Curveball.
See where it lands. In the strike zone. Corey Knebel. 3 strikeouts looking to close out the day. Game over. Brewers take it 2-0, and they are the first team in the National League to 50 wins. 50 up and 35 down on the season. And stay tuned for Eric Thames, a post-game interview coming very soon. And I will go live on Instagram right now to take your questions right after Eric Thames. Questions for Thames, let us know. There's that last pitch from Knebel in the strike zone.
Yeah, when he throws that for strikes, I mean, look out hitters. I mean, 3-2, 2-run lead, tying run on deck. Dozier sitting there, and he throws the curveball. If he misses there, trouble is a brewing for Knebel with a home run hitter coming to the plate.
A lot of confidence in that pitch. He threw it 2-1. He threw it 3-2.
Yeah.
So for the Milwaukee Brewers, their last 35 home games have produced 24 wins. First team to 50. in the National League. Milwaukee, first place in the National League Central. And for Minnesota, they fall to 35-47 on the year. 10.5 games back of the Cleveland Indians. So Eric Thames joins us right now on MLB Live on Facebook Watch, and we'll take questions for him in just a moment. And Eric, congratulations on the victory. Your home run was the difference. Take us through that at-bat.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, Jake's fastballs, they right up in the zone. I was trying to see the ball down, but not too far down to chase it. And he threw a cutter, a slider, something in the middle end. I just reacted, and hopefully the ball snuck over the wall.
Okay, Eric, this one from Nolan. What did you think is the biggest reason for your success with the Brewers the last 2 years?
Always learning. I mean, the big leagues, it's tough. It's like the best pitching in the league, best hitting in the league. So it's one of those things you have to adapt, you have to adjust, you have to study. You can't just, if you're on a hot streak, you can't just maintain that. You have to keep adapting because the pitchers will adapt to you. So to put it short, you have to keep learning, keep working, and, have fun, ultimately.
Eric, it seems like you guys have all three aspects working pretty good. Your defense has been pretty good. It seems like it's somebody different every day offensively. And talk a little bit about this pitching staff, how well they've performed lately.
Yeah, I mean, our pitchers, our bullpen especially, that's like our specialty right now. But, we're a special group. We got guys that work hard. We got guys that have fun together. We have chemistry. It's the same thing as last year. That's what made that team so special. And we have the same thing this year, if not stronger. So we're hunting. We're hunting October. It's not just, win the first half, It's one of those things we had to keep winning the whole year and keep running. I think this is our 50th win, so
it is.
That's a good mark.
That's a great number. And, Eric, a few more good ones from fans on Facebook. Many asking about the 4 outfielders that we've seen in 2 of your at-bats in these last 2 games. What do you think?
The Astros did that when I was rehabbing in Fresno. They had 4 outfielders.
In AAA?
Yeah, it was like my second at-bat rehab, and I'm like, man, I'm trying to make contact. I'm not even trying. and no lie, I lined out to the third baseman. He was like all the way down the left field line. I lined out to him, so it was an L5. Unbelievable, but it's one of those things you can't control the shift, whether they're playing you to pull or 4 outfielders, 5 infielders, doesn't matter. You just have to hit. You can't get caught up in all that because then, if you do get caught up in it, then you actually will roll over a ball right to them. It's crazy how baseball is, but, yeah, you just got to hit.
Hey, Eric, LaTroy Hawkins here.
Hey, what's up?
What has surprised you the most from this team? You guys got 50 wins, and it's before the All-Star break. What surprised you the most about how well you guys are playing?
Everybody was a little worried that, we had too many position players. And for us, because, you have to play every day to get your at-bats and be comfortable, but not so much for us so far. We have guys that had off days here and there, 2 in a row, and they come back and get 3 hits, it's crazy. It's crazy how we believe in each other. We're not bitter. We're not playing. We just know the end goal is to get a ring on the finger. So, it's a part of the chemistry.
And, Eric, last but not least from Hamilton, why did you shave the beard, although it looks like you're doing good work already?
I've had it for 4 years. I woke up one day in Arizona and it was long, it was matted, and I was tired of combing it. It was hot, and I'm just like, man, you know what? I've had it for 4 years. It's time for a change. I just want to look in the mirror and see something different. and I've always wanted the friendly mutton chops for about 5 years, and I was like, I'm gonna do the friendly mutton chops, do that for a while, and then I'll shave it. And I'll have a nice little neat beard until playoff run, and I'll grow it out, and then we'll see what.
You're more aerodynamic right now.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
you look good out there. Eric, thank you so much for the time, and congratulations on the homer and win number 50.
All right, thanks for having me.
Eric Thames with us on MLB Live on Facebook Watch. And next Wednesday, we're back.
Great.
We will go to the Steel City. The Pirates host Bryce Harper and the Washington Nationals. Coverage begins 12:30 p.m. Eastern. For Bill Schroeder, LaTroy Hawkins, and Stephen Nelson, I'm Scott Braun saying goodbye for now. Thanks for watching MLB Live on Facebook Watch. And next up for you, you can join our conversation on Instagram Live. Follow me at Scott Braun, and we will answer a flurry of questions right now. We're live as we speak. So is LaTroy. We're going to talk to you. We'll continue the conversation. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.